What's up, guys? Welcome to Hive Mind number 10. Yeah.
Yay, everybody.
Yeah. All right. So, I want to have this as like a segment that we do, like the IRL segment. Anything interesting happen in Dontain's world?
Yes, actually, a lot went down in my real life this week. Remember when I talked about I got paid?
Yeah.
Okay, so that didn't happen.
What?
I got paid. No, check this shit. So I got that check on Thursday. I deposited it on Friday. We talked about it last week, and I was all super stoked, right? Over the weekend, maybe, because it was MLK Day on Monday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, I get a call from my bank. I hadn't spent any of this money yet, by the way. Bank says, "Oh, this deposit you made for this much money, it's like 2,000 plus money. We're taking that back and sending it back to the person or whatever. We're moving it from your account." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, it turns out it was fraudulent." And I'm like, "Oh, what? Shit. Really?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And I tried calling that phone number back for that guy who called me and said, like, "Look, we're a part of this like big old lawsuit thing. You're owed this money, blah blah blah." Tried calling him back, no answer all week. And so yeah. And then my bank goes, this is like basically check fraud, and you deposited this check willingly. So you're basically committing check fraud, so we're closing your account, and you can't open another checking account in all of Minnesota for like a year. And I just sat there, and I was like, "You what?" So yeah, that happened.
What the fuck?
I'm not being charged with any like criminal bullshit either. I'm not being arrested, or I'm not being taken.
I'm assuming they gave you your money in your account, right?
No.
How much money did you have in your account with them?
$6.
Oh.
I didn't have much money in there, but I was just like, what?
Maybe that's why they shut you out. It's because you didn't have any money with them, and they're like, all right, this
well, yeah,
guy.
They're a bank, and banks are basically a bunch of bullshit, so they probably come to their own conclusions, and we're like, yep. But to be put, because this is how I feel like I've been put on a list. Like, this guy, if he walks into your bank and tries to create a checking account, you can't fucking give him a checking account.
Well, you got to think about it from their perspective. Like, how many fucking fake checks have you brought in there?
Why, 2, I guess. But, I mean, I'm not, like, deliberately partaking in doing any of this. Besides, the first one was like, they were like, "Oh, yeah, this is fraudulent. We're the bank. We're, like, on your side. We know how to check for these things before they actually go through." And I'm like, "Oh, sweet, dude." And here I take a check in, assuming and it was for the amount that that me and the company had agreed upon. So it was like, well, this isn't like weird. And apparently something happened and all this shit got reversed. So I'm like, all right. But for them to like put me on a list, that's the part that insults me the most, because you can't, like, if you get hired, like if I get hired somewhere to work, I have no checking account to be like, "Yo, this is my checking account. This is how you pay me, dog." So now I can't even get a job. I mean, I can get a job, but how the fuck am I going to get paid? You know what I mean? So that kind of fucking blows. It's kind of like it happened so recently because it was just Wednesday, where my attitude now is like, it sucks, but I'm sure there's a way to work around it and make it work. But I'm not in like shock.
You can't just go to a different bank, like a different.
No. Can't. It's all across Minnesota. They said you can't go anywhere, and I'm like, well, that's kind of gay, y'all. Like, I could understand if it was your bank.
How long was this conversation? Did they bring you into a room and tell you this shit, or did they do it at the counter?
There's no room. There wasn't at a counter, but it was just in a cubicle, and they were just like explaining to me like, this is what happened. Because what I'd done is like I had told you last week.
Yeah.
As soon as I deposited the money on Thursday, on Friday, before the podcast, I was at the bank. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna fucking get ahead. So I paid like 2 months of my rent in money orders, which, by the way, they're not called money orders anymore. If you say money order at a bank, apparently you're a criminal. They're called cashier's checks now. Like, all that shit is called something else. It's like, fuck you, I can call it a money order, you dumb bitch. That's what it's been called for the last 20 years of my life. So anyway, I did that feeling great. And then they're like, nah, those aren't going to clear. You're fucked on those. Blah blah blah. And I think I only spent about like $40 of that money. A new restaurant opened like a block away from where I live, and me and my friends are like big sushi enthusiasts, and there's no sushi here like at all. So we went over there and we had some food, and I think that plus a couple of things was like $40. They're like, you owe us $40 if you don't pay us by 2:00 on this day. Your checking account is closed. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I stroll in there at like 1:45. I'm in line to speak to somebody for 15 minutes. Bam, I'm talking to a banker at like 2 minutes before noon, or 2 minutes, I'm sorry, 2 minutes before 2:00. We don't actually do the transaction because it takes time. You know, you're sitting there at the bank, you go, hey, I've got this. Okay, what's your account number? Sign this piece of paper, boom, boom, boom. Well, that takes about a couple of minutes. By the time I get my receipt that says I've paid what I owe from this fraudulent check, they go, oh, it's 2:00. It's after 2:00. Sorry, you didn't pay on time. So we're going to close your account. And then they had me sit in a cubicle and go, by the way, this is what happened.
So they took your $40 and then they just said your account's closed?
Yeah, and then they told me the whole like, this is what happens in Minnesota when you're involved with this sort of thing. And I'm like, listen, faggot, I'm not involved with shit. Like, I'm the victim. Fuck you. And I swear, dude, Zybak, I swear to God, I say this shit to all my friends, and it's an absolute truth. If I wasn't mentally stable, you want to hear about a new shooting that's going to happen? Hell, we can talk about it next week on the podcast.
Jesus, dude.
Dontain shoots up a fucking bank, motherfucker. If I wasn't mentally stable, I would be going through the steps of actually purchasing a gun and shooting motherfuckers.
Well, that's what money, though. You had $6.
Well, I mean, it's not that I don't have any money. It's just that if I were to get high, because there's some I do temp work, man. Like, they call me once or twice a week, and then I go over to a factory and I work someone's job until they get a replacement for that person. But even then, when I get a check from them, where the hell am I going to cash it at? And there is an answer. I can go to Walmart, but that just pisses me off even more because now this whole fucking circle returns to Walmart. That sucks. I'm too artistic to love what's happening to me right now. But I mean, shit. Now I understand when these motherfuckers shoot up churches and shit. These people are like mentally ill, man.
Wait, churches?
Well, whatever. San Bernardino, you name whatever the hell's been happening.
That has nothing to do with your situation at all, though.
No, it doesn't. But if I were mentally unstable, motherfucker, I'm not kidding. If I had a gun right now and I kind of cared a little bit less about my own life, just a little bit right now, yeah, I'd go to my bank. I'd go to my bank and be like, motherfucker, close my checking account. I've been here 10 years, nigga.
See, the thing is that the banks just don't give a shit if you don't have money. Like,
I know, and it sucks. It just sucks.
And to play devil's advocate, like, you can sort of like not blame them either, because they aren't making any money off you if you don't have money with them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean,
like you're an actual like cost to them.
We can play devil's advocate all we want. We all know banks are essential to a person's life.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
For them to go, ha! You can't use a bank.
Yeah. But if you see it from their point of view,
have fun being homeless, faggot. I don't like that.
It sucks dick. I'm not gonna lie. It sucks dick what happened to you. But to think about it from just the perspective of the bank, they don't know anything about your situation and how you got ripped off or whatever. No, they see a guy that's got $6 in his checking account, and then he brings in a fake check for whatever $2,400 or whatever the fuck it was.
Unbeknownst to him. That's the part that sucks. No one's willing to talk to me about this.
Yeah, I mean,
they're just like, fake check. This guy's would never put him on a list.
Yeah, but I think if the same situation would have happened to me, it would have been like, oh, the check was fake, and it wouldn't have been like a big tizzy because I would have had money in my account, and they just would have, whatever. Like, if I had spent 40 of the dollars,
they probably would have kissed your ass too. They'd been like, oh, cool, man, Logan, you got money on our bank. It's cool, man. This weirdo check. But to me, they're like, haha, what's this? Oh yeah, you make a $300 money order every month. Yeah, fuck you, get out of here. Yeah, I understand. I understand where you're coming from.
There's a good joke here. I'm gonna tell it. It's a long joke, but it's very appropriate for the situation. So here we go.
I'll tell you if it's funny or not.
A man walked into a bank and walked up to the teller, and he said, "I want to open a motherfucking bank account." Astonished, the lady replied, "I'm sorry, sir, but we don't tolerate that kind of language at this banking establishment." With that said, she walked up to the bank manager and explained the situation. He agrees that the woman should not have to listen to that sort of language. They both returned to the man "What's the problem, sir?" the manager asks. "There's no fucking problem here, man. I just won $200 million in the damn lottery, and I want to put it in a motherfucking checking account." And the manager looks and says, "Oh, I see. And this bitch is giving you a hard time, sir?" See, the banks don't give a shit about you unless you have money, or at least some money. Like, I don't have a lot of money, but my bank's pretty cool with me, and I just kind of see it from their perspective of, like, look, this fucking weird guy comes into our bank, and he's got $6 in the bank, and he keeps bringing in these fake fucking checks, and then he spent some of the money from the fake check, and he didn't pay us back on time.
Man, you really implicate me. I hope this isn't evidence.
No, I'm not.
I keep bringing in fake checks. Nigga, if I was bringing in fake-ass checks all the time, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be like, boom, 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 new car, this and that. Fuck you, I'm ripping you off. And then they find out that I'm doing that.
Yeah, but
well, then that's justice. But I'm just a part of some bullshit scheme. Now I'm in trouble. Like, that's bullshit to me. I don't care.
It's definitely
I don't care
bullshit.
About the money.
I'm just saying, I can't blame your bank completely. Like, it sucks.
I can. I'll blame him with a fucking 9 Glock. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm not that crazy, but that's where I am right now, where I'm just like, really? Like, I just got through this stupid machinima bullshit. I work under a schedule that I don't understand, whether or not I'm going to get work or not. And now I'm really skeptical of whether or not I do any freelance jobs, because that was a freelance job. And I'm just sitting there going like, all right, well, what the fuck do I do, you know? Am I doomed to just eventually work at a plant for the rest of my life and hate myself for the next 30 years? You know, I hate that. I hate that shit because of this, and it sucks. But you know who's not getting my business once I'm making money? Bremer fucking Bank, bitch. That's for damn sure. I ain't going back to those motherfuckers. I'll go to Bank of America. At least it says America. At least Trump will endorse it. Bank of Trump, nigga. That shit'll be great. I'm mad. I can't tell if anybody can tell. I'm mad. When I start using the fake N-word, I'm mad. And I don't apologize either. I don't give a fuck. I'm sick. Fucking last week, you and I did a podcast, right? We're doing a podcast, normal shit. The next day, I get like creepy strep throat. Like I can feel it coming. So I'm like, all right, cool. I got to do some stuff to stop it from happening. And it just doesn't stop. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I sound like different people every day. And so yesterday I started feeling fine. But now I still have like sinus issues. But so I apologize if you hear me coughing and stuff, guys. But yeah. And then the whole time I was like, you know what would be funny? I could blame you for getting me sick over the internet. But then I realized logically.
Where did you realize that was not a proper?
Well, no, I was just making a joke. Obviously, I'm not that stupid. But but I was thinking to myself, like, you know what actually got me sick? The fact my car won't turn on because it's so fucking cold outside is like -11 for like a week.
And I was actually looking into that.
Huh?
I was actually looking into that situation. You might want to like open up your hood and see if your battery like detaches easily, because a lot of people apparently just take their batteries out of their car, like they just like unscrew them and then like bring them inside.
Batteries are attached to a thing that holds it in place outside of the two wires that are used. So unscrewing the wires, no big deal, the red and the black. But you need actual tools like a wrench and shit to remove them from their little holding cell. I don't have any tools. My friend is like, well, let me see what I can do. I can maybe let you borrow my one or two tools you might need to just take the battery, bring it inside. But get this shit, some shyster shit going on in my town. I go over to Batteries Plus, which is like, you know, they sell batteries. I got a new battery. Right.
I thought they sold coffee mugs.
For all y'all out there, for all y'all Syrian refugees, they sell batteries over there. So they're like not even a block away. I go over there and I'm like, I bought a new battery from y'all like last year, and I want like a deep cycle recharge because I think my battery kind of just needs it. Well, they plug the shit into my battery and go, no, man, your battery's not pulling too much charge, but it's your alternator, dog. Your alternator's not. And I'm like, oh, you guys want to fucking sit and tell me my alternator's fucked up? You kidding me? My alternator's brand new, motherfucker. Oh, yeah, you got to get a new alternator. Get the fuck out of here. So not only am I sick, have no bank account, I'm broke, but these assholes won't even fucking recharge my battery so I can go drive around looking for a job. So So I drove it back home, and then I told my car friend Rocco, and I'm like, dude, they say my alternator fuck, and he's just going off on me on the phone. He's like, those pieces of shit asshole, I'll kill them. I'm like, please don't do that. He's like an amateur MMA fighter, so he gets angry really quick because like I'm his good friend and I'm getting screwed and he's pissed.
It's not having a bank account is pretty ass.
Well, I mean, Walmart will cash a check, but I mean,
yeah, but don't you have to pay? You have to pay for that. Like you have to pay a premium.
It's like a couple percentage of the check.
I mean, that adds up like significantly. Though. Percentages,
yes.
Like it'd be one thing if it was a flat fee of like $2 or something, but if it's percentage,
it's a percentage up to a cap. It's just
okay. So it might not be.
It's like with PayPal. Like if you want to move $1,000 in PayPal, it's like, yeah, cool, we'll take 2% up to $2. So it's like, okay, $2, fine. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's $2 or whatever the hell every check, but it's like, then I gotta drive to Walmart and feel like a fucking idiot, and I don't know. I just don't like it. It sucks, and I'm just now kind of rounding the corner on being sick. I couldn't stream all week because I wanted to like rest my vocal cords so that this doesn't get worse. And so hopefully that's okay. Everybody who watches me stream probably got a nice little vacation from me for a while because I was streaming every fucking day for like almost 2 months. But yeah, I literally sounded different like every day. It was really fucked up.
Huh.
I sounded like a black guy like on Wednesday. I called my friend who lives in Boston to talk about what the fuck. He wanted to know my opinion of like Just Cause 3 before he bought it, and I was like, dude, I didn't get too much into it, but it's really fun though. And he's like, what the hell? You don't sound like yourself. Kind of like when I called you today with that pitch shifter thing on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, sorry, dude. He's like, you sound black. I'm like, I get that's your opinion, man. I'd sound so weird, but that's why I had the pitch shifter thing too, because I was like, maybe if I pitch my voice up, I'll sound normal. But then I call you and I'm like, yo, dog.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what's on?
How's it going, dude?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Well, that sucks, man. I that kind of sucks to go from the last podcast where things were looking up. I'm like, yeah, I got $2,300 or where the fuck he said, and I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, not in the 68% or whatever. Now I'm back down.
Now it somehow has gotten even worse than it was before.
There you go. I was gone for a little while, poverty. I'm back now.
Dude, yeah, that fucking sucks, man.
And I mean, I'll figure it out. I'm working towards it. I mean,
surely you could go with the... That's so crazy that your bank, like, even if you paid the money back, they still wouldn't...
Well, the thing is, I didn't pay it back on time. It was like 2:02 p.m.
And they still took it, though. But they still took it.
They still took it and then said, you can't open a checking account with us for 2 years. And
2 years? I thought it was 1 year.
With the bank, with that bank for 2 years. And across all of Minnesota for 1 year. So what I'm going to do, probably Monday next week, is I'm going to go over...
Go ahead.
I'm going to go over to another bank and be like, look, this is my story. I'm not cashing fake checks. I'm not like part of a scheme of people. But this is what happened. What are my options with your bank? And they'll probably be like, well, no.
You might, I'm not an expert on this, but you might be able to go through a credit union. I know there's a lot of people who don't have traditional bank accounts, but they do shit through a credit union that's like essentially the same thing, but it's different. And I've heard in a lot of ways credit unions are superior to banks.
They are. My first checking account was through a credit union.
Yeah.
It's like a super bank where they have like all these different rules to protect you and stuff because you pay them a little bit per month or something like that. I don't remember, but it's very, very much a better scenario than a bank. And we do have one credit union here.
So but I don't know. I'm
just going to ask questions and be like, hey, so this happened. My only main concern is, and again, file this in the same location as Dontain might shoot up a motherfucking building. I'm concerned if I'm too honest with the next bank I go to about my situation, that they're just going to turn around and go, nope, we're bank. You were involved in checking, cash fraud, whatever, you're immediately disqualified. Whereas if I would have went there and been like, yo, dog, here's $100. I want to open up a checking account. And I don't say anything. They'll be like, yeah, cool. You now have a checking account with us. Right? Whereas my last bank told me you can't open a checking account for a year across all of Minnesota. So then what? Now I'm freaking out like, open up a checking account in another bank, man. Am I committing a crime, dude? Are they going to eventually find out? Because none of this shit's out in my control because I don't know the laws. You know what I mean? So it's like a catch-22. I'm fucked if I'm honest, or I'm fucked if I just say, hey, here's money. Boom, let's do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. I'm scared. It sucks, but it's mostly just because I'm dealing with the bank. The rest of it doesn't scare the fuck out of me at all. Like, oh yeah, I mean, I stockpiled a bunch of food like last month. I got food and shit. I'm fine. But like, if I get hired somewhere at a really good job, like, I don't know. Did I tell you about this last week? So there's a car company here, dealership, Mills Motors. And they posted an ad saying, we need a social media specialist, which I assume is basically what you do for the place you work at.
Sort of. I do a lot of
film the cars. Things. Yeah.
I actually haven't been doing that much recently. I've been tasked with other things, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, they need somebody to film the cars, put YouTube videos up on their YouTube channel. And I'm like, all right. So let's say that this goes through and I get the interview and I go over there and I get the job. Well, then what? Hey, put down your. We need a routing number here for your check, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have a bank.
I haven't worked that many different jobs, but do a lot of places pay you directly through bank transfer? Like, I've always gotten a check.
You can choose to get a check.
That's all you gotta do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just choose to get a check, and then whatever, cash it at Walmart or whatever.
Yeah.
That sucks though, because I know like I've recently gotten into investing, and my investment broker that I do it through, you have to have a checking account because everything's through direct bank transfers. I mean, you could send them a check, but get the fuck out of here with that shit. Like, I guess you couldn't really if you don't have a bank account to write a check from.
Right.
Fuck. Yeah, you gotta have a fucking bank account, man.
Well, yeah, and normally you do have a bank account. Normally I would have a bank account, but again, like I said, my scenario is. I did work for that amount of money, which me and the company agreed upon. Granted, there's no like documentation saying like this is how much this is legal handshake shit.
Did you sign a contract with these guys?
No, of course not. It's freelancing. I don't have a lawyer to write up my document for me saying, okay, you got to sign this. You know, I'm at the very
typically they give you something.
No, typically in freelancing, I give them something. But I don't have the money to pay a lawyer to write up the documentation for me to then send out to everybody that I work with. It's my responsibility. I'm not trying to run from some shit like it's not my fucking fault. But I don't have. I'm starting from the very fucking bottom. Like I'm scraping and being like, just in a sense of like, anybody give me a chance to fucking do some shit, please. And this I thought was legit. I'm like, sweet. Now I can take some of this money over to a contract lawyer and be like, write this shit up. Because if I'm working on freelance video editing and production work, I can then now send that document because that's mine. I own it. And I can send it out to people and be like, you need to sign this before I start working. You agree on the price. We're doing business. That's where I was at last week, where I'm just like, yeah, cool. Now this is really starting to pick up. I can start doing this and this and this. Well, then this fucking company's like, yeah, well, we're screwing everybody who is a part of our business, but we ain't losing any money on this Dontain kid.
It makes me wonder if that whole like the lawyer guy that you apparently talked to, like, I wonder if it's like a conspiracy where like that actually is the company and they're just trying to fucking like bury this thing. Like the company that scammed you faked being a lawyer, faked the check.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
just so you like move on or think it's over or some shit, or I don't know.
Yep. But imagine if I spent most of that money.
Yeah, then I would be really fucked.
Yes, they would send a collection agency after me. But I didn't spend much of it. And that's the thing, too.
Yeah, at least you're even. Like, at least you're, like, square, you paid the $40. Yeah, you're square with them, even though you can't open an account. And I mean, that's why I couldn't believe that they blackballed you, even though you paid it up. Because it would have been one thing if you would have been, like, $2,000 in the hole, and then they're like, we gotta close your fucking shit for 2 years or a year or whatever.
Again, that's file that in the filing cabinet where it's Dontain shoots up a place someday. Like, why the hell would you lock me out? I paid you back your money.
Yeah.
I just need a checking account. Like every human being, everyone in the country needs a checking account. That's like a thing we all need. Oh, sorry, you can't. And so, I don't know. It really sucks. And then the whole idea of, you're talking about like, well, maybe that was a scam when someone called you saying, hey, I'm a lawyer. And it's like, I'm questioning the whole fucking world, man. Like at that point where you're thinking about that kind of shit, you're like, well, who do I trust this person? Do I trust this person? And
well, the whole thing did sound really sketchy. Like, yeah, this random guy contacted me and I instantly got money. It's like, what?
It's not sketchy in the sense that the exact amount of money that was sent to me was the amount that we agreed upon. Now I can get, look, the first and only other scam check that I ever got was I was trying to sell one of my WWF championship belts because I used to collect replicas of the championship belts because I was like way into them and they're cool. I had a Smoking Skull Stone Cold Steve Austin belt, which was really rare, about $400 for the belt. I posted on Craigslist. I'm like, I gotta get rid of this. It doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Anybody interested? I got an email. Oh, do you still have the Smoking Skull belt? I replied, yes, I do. And they're like, okay, well, send us your email or send us your address. And we'll send you, I'm willing to send you a check. And it sounded like a legit. The way I'm speaking makes it sound like it's like a robot talking to me. Yeah. But it sounded like a real person. I was like, yeah, well, no, you know what? I'll send you a check for the amount of the belt. Just give me your address. I'm like, all right, cool, dude. And he's like, well, you know, I'll send you a little bit more so you can then use that money to ship it to me. And I'm like, sweet. I got a check in the mail within a week. Again, I'm trying to sell this thing for $400. The check is for $2,900, and I'm like, okay, this is clearly something's fucked up here. This is weird.
Yeah.
I take that to the bank and I go, this is a weird check. See, here's me going to the bank willingly with a check for a lot of money and saying, I think this is fake. Please check it. They get back to me in 30 minutes. Yeah, it's fake. We're very happy that you caught this and didn't actually try depositing it. But then again, now this time around, I don't even know it's fake. Because it's for the exact amount of money that me and the company agreed upon to do the work for them. I mean, this is like a month of straight work every day. You get up, work, eat, shit, go to bed for like 60 days. And I was like, yay, hallelujah, let's do it. No, and it's fake? Okay. Well, you know, apparently I'm a criminal. So, you know, fuck you, Bremer Bank. Kiss my ass. Because I know 6 to 8 months from now when I'm pulling in checks for thousands of dollars, your ass ain't going to fucking get my money. I know that shit.
Do you have something lined up? Like, do you have some...
No, but I'm really hard working. And when you're at the very bottom of society, I mean, you know, I feel like a really tempered piece of steel, man. Like, yeah, you got your lightsaber, but guess what? I can still cut through your ass, like sort of feeling. Like, I'm pissed, and that's going to just motivate me even more. I am so money motivated right now. And I've never been money motivated in my life. And that sounds weird to say, like, oh, why wouldn't you be money motivated? But the thing of it is, when people go to a job, when someone goes to their shit job at Hardee's to be a manager, or if you go to Subway, or if you work in a plant, you're going there to pay your fucking child support. You're going there to pay your fucking bills. But guess what, motherfucker? Dontain ain't got that many bills. I've been living like this for 3 fucking years. I live on fucking nothing. I live on nothing to the point where when I buy salsa from Tostinos, I clean the jar and keep it because I put shit in it. Okay,
yeah, I don't. I'm the same way. I think there's probably a lot of YouTubers and a lot of like streamers that live very like inexpensive lifestyles, just because we are self-employed and we know that the money can be good sometimes. It can be great sometimes, but then it can also, you know, drop off. Like January is a perfect example where the ad revenue just takes a shit after December where you're making a killing. Because I do the same thing. I mean, the only recent purchase I've done that was frivolous was I got all these fucking posters, but that's the last time that I've spent anything like frivolously. And other than that, you know, I think I've made lots of really solid financial decisions early in life that are hopefully going to pay out nicely here in the next 30 years.
Yeah, and I ain't trying to accuse you of anything. I'm just going to use this as an example. A lot of people, when they grow up, they have money set aside for them to, like, you know, have once they come of age. That shit never happened for me, and it's not sour grapes. That wasn't a thing for me in my life. So yeah. I'm used to this shit. But, motherfucker, when I'm making money, yeah, a lot of people are going to get a fucking comeuppance and shit. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to, oh, yeah, we'd love to have you bank with us. Really? You would? Fuck you. You kiss my ass. I'll put my money somewhere else. Minnesota, you can suck a dick. You ain't done shit for me. So, yeah, that's not, I don't know. I'm just bitter, man. I'm just mad and bitter about, like, genuine shit. And again, I'm 5 steps away from taking bullets into people's heads. And you know what I mean?
That's really fucking scary. Like, that's...
It's not going to happen. Believe me, it's not going to happen. But
like,
I
just
totally
the fact that you keep repeating it. Like, it'd be one thing if it was a joke where you're like, yeah, I'm going to fucking kill some people. But you, like, keep saying it. It's just like, it's getting a little awkward.
It's like, and now every podcast is like, once a podcast, I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm just like, maybe get an AK and just, like, shoot a bunch of motherfuckers. So shit.
Yeah, but, like, this is how that shit happens, where, like, there's a school shooting with, like, at some school, he's like, yeah, you always used to joke around about doing it, but we never thought he'd do it. And that's going to be, like, the Hive find Dontain story of, like, they're going to have me on, like, 60 Minutes, some old faggots, like, talking to me. He's like, what do you, like, you knew him. Like, what do you think made him do it? He's like, and I'm just sitting there like, dude, I don't know, man. We're just sitting on the podcast. He's joking around. I don't think he's fucking serious. And then he shoots up a fucking preschool. Like, I don't know what happened.
I wouldn't shoot up a preschool. That's fucking just stupid. I would shoot up the bank because I know these motherfuckers at the bank. I've known these people. I know Chuck. Chuck, I know you, motherfucker. There's nothing stopping me from putting a bullet in your fucking head. No, but I'm not gonna do it because I'm not crazy. But it's just like on a personal level. You know what I mean? Like if you've been banking with your bank for how long? I don't know your situation with your bank and how long you've been there, but I've been there like over a decade. I see the same damn people all the time when I go in, and all of a sudden in one day they're like, "Ha, nope, boom, done. You're done." What? Like they've had my business for over a decade.
Yeah. It's just that they don't give a shit about you because you don't have money.
Right? Because it's protocol. I understand.
I know it's fucking terrible to say, but it's true.
And this is not like a big bank either. You know, I'm okay with like J.P. Morgan Chase or Wells Fargo or whatever being like, yeah, fuck you, we don't like you. This is a local Minnesota bank. Like you would think that they would have more sort of like, oh yeah, cool. Like, well, that sucks that you got caught up in this like scheme, but you have nothing to do with it. We'll sort of fight for you and blah, blah, blah. No, they're just like every bank. There's nothing different. They're just liars. Everything's different. When you go to your bank account and you log in, you go log into your bank account online and you see the smiling black people or the smiling Hispanic people or whatever the hell.
Very racially diverse over there.
Whatever the hell it is. Yeah, whatever you're doing, whatever you look at, oh, smiling so-and-so, I'm going to log into my bank account. Believe me, they don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, I've been taking more of my money out of my bank account and putting it into like stock market just because it's fucking banks don't, dude, it's like such a scam. They give you like nothing for interest.
You know, and we talked about
like bonds and stock.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, and it's always everyone knows it's a smarter idea never to have your try to get your money to grow in a bank. But yeah. I'm just saying, we've been talking about this for like 30 minutes. I'm done talking about it.
Yeah. We should have switched the topic a long time ago, but I didn't know if there was a fucking a silver lining to all of this. No silver lining, just a shit lining.
I'll let you know every week and tell you what's going on. Now I'm getting like, my sinuses are starting to be like really stupid right now. So anyway, let's move on, and I'll blow my nose.
Anyway, in my real life right now, there's a shitload of fucking snow. Are you familiar with the East Coast Apocalypse blizzard?
I live in Minnesota, nigga. I don't give a fuck how much snow you get.
Well, we're gonna get like 2.5 feet.
Yeah. Whoa, 2.5 feet? Whoa, man. Holy shit.
That's a lot for this area.
No, yeah, it's a lot for your area. That's like a fucking afternoon for us. But yeah, it can be devastating for an area that's like not normally getting a lot of snow.
It's pretty fucking crazy. Like I have just essentially, I have not opened my door today, and I probably will not open my door until Monday because it's not like I'm gonna go anywhere. Like I went and bought a bunch of food on Thursday because they've been calling for it for a while. Went and bought a bunch of shit, and I think I'm just gonna hang out in my apartment all weekend because, you know, I didn't even, Harvey's wasn't even open today. Like we're normally open on Fridays and Saturdays, obviously, but I doubt we're going to be open tomorrow either, just because it's a fucking disaster out there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sucks, man. And it comes suddenly, too. See, in Minnesota, when we get snow, like if I owned a house or rented a house, I would definitely, absolutely have to own like a snowblower. And people always put their snowblowers like in their atrium right before they go outside. So it's like inside the house, but it's just right there. So that when they open their door, they can immediately turn the thing on and go brrr and start making fucking paths to their cars and stuff. So you see that a lot out here.
Yeah, with I haven't checked the roads, but I'm sure the roads are a disaster. We're getting 2 inches an hour. 2 inches of snow an hour.
This is happening right now?
It is barely snowing right now, but it's supposed to do it. It's done it pretty much all day today, and it's supposed to do it even worse tomorrow. So, yeah, it's going to be nice and fun. But yeah,
you get a sled. Just go get a sled and be like, wee, just slide around.
It's so
find a hill.
deep that I feel like it wouldn't even work.
Oh, it'll work. That's the best part. Because a lot of it's like light snow. So if you like pack it down, that's the best. Like,
yeah, I feel like if I try to slay down a hill, like I just get stuck in the hill. Just because it's like it's so soft that I feel like I just sink into it and just not be able to go.
That's the best shit. Ask anybody who skis, man. Soft powder on top, packed down below, having a great time.
Yeah. I guess
but then again, you got to be prepared for this shit. You know, you have to like stake your claim on a hill before it starts to snow out there, and be like, "This is where I'm gonna."
There's not going to be an issue in Radford, Virginia, about staking claim to hills. There's not like a sleigh riding gang of just mean kids that have their territories.
Oh no, I meant in the sense of like
the sleigh riding cartel.
Like you already have like
our hill.
I meant in like the sense like you have a preliminary way to get up to the hill prior to the big snowfall.
Oh yeah,
because climbing up a fucking hill full of snow ain't fucking great either. It's probably the most exercise I ever got in my life. Was like, yay, you slide down the hill, 5 seconds of fun. Here comes 3 minutes of you climbing up a fucking hill and hating yourself tomorrow because your legs and back hurt like a motherfucker. But that was when I was a kid, so I was like, whatever.
Yeah. Good old sleigh riding. Fun. Do you ever get one of those crazy, like, the high-end sleds that are, like, have the metal rails that you can, they go fast as shit?
No, but the best sleds, and this is for real talk, if you can get your hands on the I don't know what the hell they're called, but the inflatable tube inside of tires, right? Not the tire tread, but the thing that inflates inside the tire. So here's the shit. If you can get a huge one, like from a construction truck or some shit, and then you get a smaller tire to fit inside of that, same exact thing, you know, the inflatable part, and you fit that inside of the big one, and a smaller tire inside of that one, and a smaller tire inside of that one, and then you wrap a bunch of rope around that shit, that is the best sliding material. That shit will take you everywhere.
Huh.
It's awesome.
The sled I'm talking about is like this long. You get on it like on your chest, and it's like this long sled, and it's got 2 rails that go down it, and they're like sharp on the ends, like almost like ice skates. And you can go. Yeah. You can go so fast on one of those fucking things.
Yeah, you see that?
It's unreal how fast you can go on one of those things.
You see that shit in the Olympics?
No, it's not like a. Yeah, I guess it is sort of similar.
I forget what they call it.
The luge, but it's not actually that. Like, I don't have an actual luge sled, but it's similar in design to where it's got like 2 rails and
it's luge-esque.
Luge-esque, yeah. It's definitely now that'd be some shit to see a fucking 4-man like bobsled going down a hill. How fucking awesome would that be, though?
And then they have like no way of getting the bobsled back up the hill. They actually have to like lift it.
You they just have like an F-150 at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah,
just crank that shit up.
At most like snow sledding places here, you know, you slide down the hill. Big hills too, no bullshit. But then they have like a rope on a conveyor belt.
That's the way to do it.
You grab onto that fucking rope and it pulls you up. The problem is they tell you to put duct tape on your gloves, so the rope doesn't like destroy your gloves. So, yeah.
Anyway, let me go down my topic list.
And I will apologize. I said yesterday that I would be looking for topics towards the end of the podcast. I'm sorry, guys. I just got sick and lost my whole life. So I would have been looking up topics. I really was looking forward to it, too. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to look at that. Like 10 Cloverfield Lane. That trailer is great. And talk about that. The next thing I know, I'm like, now I'm sick and my voice doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, have you looked into Black Desert Online? I looked into it a little bit this week, and it seems sort of interesting.
I looked into it in the sense that my friend pays for every beta to get into everything.
Oh boy!
He paid for the something, and now he's in the Korean beta. Same shit I said before on the podcast about it. Looks pretty, but show me what the hell you got towards the end.
It seems to be a fairly fleshed out MMO. Not as fleshed out as like a Star Wars: The Old Republic or Wildstar or WoW would be. But it seems to have a pretty big world. But there's some weird shit. So there's no player trading at all. Like, I can't give you a sword, like an iron sword. If I had a sword in my inventory, it's like, hey, have this. Can't do it. No trading whatsoever in the game at all.
Okay, Korean.
Everything on the auction house is at a fixed price.
Okay, Korean.
Yeah. And seemingly PvP is the only real thing to do in the game. Like, there's not like lots of raiding. There does seem to be like a pretty big open world, but PvP is seemingly is the only real content in the game. There's like guild versus guild stuff, but I don't know. I'm not excited for it. I guess it's on my radar a little bit, but I doubt it's going to be anything.
And the only reason it's on your radar is because it looks pretty. That's really it.
Not even that. If that game because there's nothing else even remotely interesting in the MMORPG genre. It's on my radar by default, pretty much.
Yeah, by default, basically. If that game looked like Wildstar, you'd be like, whatever.
Probably not. The graphics, it's not like a huge deal. I mean, I'm not one to say the graphics don't matter because they do obviously, but I don't know. Crowfall is pretty much the only thing I'm interested in right now.
I'll tell you something really gay about Black Desert. And I'm tired of this shit. Again, I talked about this last stream or last podcast. I'm clearly a dinosaur that wants good MMOs, but I'm going to have to wait until it gets really bad before it gets really good again. Black Desert. If you pick a certain class, the classes are sex locked. So like if you're a sorcerer, well, you're a sorceress. There are no male sorcerers. You're a female no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you pick a wizard, they're all males. There's no female wizards.
Lots of games are doing that now.
Yeah, how fucking gay is that? Like, can we just be
Crowfall's doing that to an extent with some of them. You
can't do that shit. That's stupid. No, and I'll tell you what it is. It's an effort to save money. It's to cut costs and save money. Wildstar did this shit where it's like, oh, every soldier, it's soldier, right? They didn't have warrior.
No, they have warrior.
They swing the sword the exact same way, and they can only use two-handed. Of course, it would cost more money to actually give a shit about all the different races and how they would do stuff, and allow everyone to wield different weapons. But fuck that.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's just lame and lazy.
With Crowfall, I can sort of forgive them, though. Because Crowfall is actually having a lot of different races. Like, with Crowfall, they openly said, like, hey, we're not going to be doing male and female versions of, like, the Centaur. Well, actually, the Centaur, they are doing that. But, like, for the big bull people, they're in Greek mythology. What the fuck are they called? You know, like the bull. Are you familiar with Minotaurs? Greek mythology with the bull and the maze? Would you say Minotaurs?
Minotaurs?
Yeah, like, they're not making a female Minotaur. Like, they're just not going to, because
I bet
first
you on
of all,
their Kickstarter
stupid,
next week it'll say, hey, if you get...
No, they actually stopped that. The stretch goals, you mean?
Sure.
Yeah, they stopped those a long time ago. They stopped those, like, at, like, 3 million, because they're like, yeah, if we keep having these, then it'll just be feature creep. So they just stopped.
Then you better have an explanation for why there are no female Minotaurs.
They do. Their explanation is that they'd rather have, like, 50 different races in the game.
No, I mean, like, lore-wise. In the world of Crowfall.
Oh, it's a fucking mystical, magical being. Like, who gives a shit? They're asexual, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really cares about it.
Yeah, as long as it's explained to me. In the game. Because the only way I ever accepted, like, oh, well, there's only one sex of this was in Final Fantasy XI for the PlayStation. You know, that the first online game. Not 11. You know what I want? Final Fantasy Online, whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah, the MMO that got killed and then redone. That one.
Not that has anything to do with it, but they have a race in that game that's like a giant cat man, and then they have little cat girls. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the male and female equivalent. When someone was like, you know, as I was playing it, they were like, oh, no, they're not the same race. This race is asexual, and they're always males. And I'm like, oh. That's strange. And then it was explained to me, like, this is a thing that's in this world. and that's not going to change. Fine. You know, if I'm playing World of Warcraft and they're like, yeah, Dark Knights, or not Dark Knights, what the fuck? Night Elves, yeah, they're only women. They're asexual and they're only women. If it's explained to me in the game that there's a reason for that, fine. But if you just go, yeah, we're just going to not make a female of that because of blah, 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 all I hear is dollar signs and being lazy. Oh, it costs us money, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is he does get out of hand really quickly. Like, I remember seeing a Crowfall interview where they were talking about why they're not doing it, and they essentially explained that it's this exponential problem that gets worse and worse if you allow every single class to be every single race to be every single class. It just gets crazy with the amount of gear and models that you have to do over time. Like, for example, with WoW, they've got 11 different races that can be warriors. That leads to all sorts of armor clipping issues and stuff like that. That's why in WoW there's like helmets that like your beard goes through, and just tons of just awful shit in terms of clipping, and just issues with gear on certain races.
No, that's not that. Don't suck the dick of Crowfall on this. Blizzard created these models to look the way that they are from the beginning. They had all this shit already figured out. They put the money and the effort into it to make it work. So yeah, if my beard clips through my helmet, they patch it in fucking a month, fine.
But they don't.
But they did. I'm a dwarf with a giant beard. There were beards clipping through certain helmets, and then they would patch them. So
I don't know. There's still lots of awful clipping stuff in WoW that doesn't exist in some of these newer games that are more locked down.
I haven't seen clipping in the game for a while, a long while. So I mean, and if it's clipping like, oh, the arms hit the knees or whatever, like that kind of bullshit, I don't care for that. That kind of complaint, I don't care for. People can, and I believe me, I come from the community of people who complain about clipping like it's a goddamn sacrilegious thing. In Guild Wars 2, if something's clipping, people are like, oh my god, oh Jesus, you know. Whereas in World of Warcraft, it's like no one's like, yeah, okay, it's clipping a little, but you know, whatever. But that shit you can tell, like, you know, shoulders on orcs are huge. That was designed that way on purpose, and it's designed that way on purpose to appeal to people who want to have giant fucking shoulders. Because shoulders are, you know, and I could go into it. But
well, anyway, with Crowfall, the reason they're doing it is because they want to have different like a lot of varied races. Like they have a fucking horseman as a race, a centaur.
Yeah.
And then they have a little fucking goddamn guinea pig weird ass looking thing, and then they've got a minotaur, and then they've got this, you know, lots of like just different shit that is not the traditional like humanoid. So, you know, they can't really, like, a lot of that gear has to be special made. Like for the horse guy, like that gear, like you have to make gear specifically for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not repurposable for a fucking human legionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what happens when you want to put a horseman in your game.
Yeah, but that's why they're exchanging having lots of different options for having lots of different races, which I think is better. Like, I would much rather have like this crazy world where everyone's not a fucking humanoid, rather than just having like, oh, I can be a short guy that's a warrior, or a tall guy that's a warrior, or a brown guy that's a warrior, or a guy with red that has spikes on his head that's a warrior, but they're all essentially humans. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope to see a lot more non-humanoids in this game, then, if that's your defense for it. Because as far as I've seen, it's just...
Yeah, there are a lot of humans.
It's just Centaur right Man, now. Which is like partly human. It's Horse Human Man! I just don't
They've said they've planned on doing lots of different fucking things. Yeah, they've got a fucking... The big bull guy. They've got a deer person that's like a fucking reindeer thing that's very weird. Horseman, guinea pig man, dwarf man. Well, they're not men. They're just, you know, I don't know what else to fucking call them. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
Crowfall 2018, baby.
Yeah.
When that shit's done and I'm playing it, then I'll be like, cool, man, look at all these really cool races and shit. It's, I don't know. It's like with Dark Black Desert, it's like, yeah, the giants, the giant race, right, which is what I would play because I fucking love that shit. They don't have females. Why? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's stupid. Oh yeah, they're just all males. There's no females at all. Well then, what? That pulls me. That destroys my like suspension
Immersion?
of disbelief when playing a video game. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, the world makes sense. I'm now immersed vicariously in this world. Oh well, there's no women of this race. What the fuck? It's kind of like with fucking Guild Wars 2.
Yeah,
like,
it does take you out a little bit if they're humanoid characters, which Crowfall does have male and female versions of the humanoid characters, like the champion, which is a giant person, male, female, ranger, male, female, druid, male, female. Yeah, but they're just not doing it for fucking gopher guy or bull centaur guy, and they're probably not doing it for the fucking deer people either.
Again, like I said last week, when you're trying to make something that's in between an MMO and a MOBA, you're kind of playing the rough field. Like, that's a gamble. Maybe it'll work.
I don't think I don't know why people are calling it a MOBA.
No, it's not a MOBA. I'm not saying it's a MOBA. What I'm saying is...
You said MOBA.
Right. But, okay, let me explain. World of Warcraft, Night Elf, MMORPG, male, female. You follow me so far?
Sure.
Crowfall, Minotaur, no other sex, and it can only do a limited number of things. Because of whatever. It's a Minotaur, and it has X number of skills. Because it's a Minotaur. Can the Minotaur be another class?
No.
Okay, then it's a MOBA. You're playing Minotaur the character. You're not playing fucking Minotaur the I can be whatever I want to be. So you're playing a MOBA.
I guess, I see the comparison there.
Get what I'm saying?
Where a lot of the classes, well, all of the classes are race locked at this point. But they want to do a lot more races. Like, there's a lot of unique races in this game. So, for example, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different classes, and there's 1, 2, 3, those are all humans, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 13 classes and 10 races. You can kind of see that there's a much higher race to class ratio than a lot of games at this point.
Right. And I'm not trying to shit on it, believe me, because if it's the way that we've discussed it in the past, if it's like, oh, it's just going to be this game, sorry, screw job, if you aren't cool with, the topic of like, well, there should be dungeons in it, and they're like, we're not putting dungeons in it.
Yeah.
We're just not going to fucking move on this topic. That's fine. We're fine with it. I'm not trying to shit on it, but when I'm not playing my character in a fantasy world that I made, like it's an avatar of me, then it's no longer an MMO in my mind. I'm playing like Misfortune, the character, in an MMO world. I'm playing Wukong, but it's not Wukong. I can call myself Dontain, but I'm still a monkey guy with a staff. But I'm basically Wukong. Or if I'm
there is character customization in this game though.
Yeah, and what does it matter? Like, if I can
you're not playing like the Minotaur, for example. Like, yes, you're playing as a Minotaur, but I'm sure you'll have different faces and body types and horns and all. Like, you'll have the character customization, just not male and female.
You're talking about cosmetic customization. I'm talking about character customization. If I can't be a Minotaur and be like a different class, if I can't be like
absolutely can do that. Yeah, dude. There's fucking they're slating like 3,000 fucking skills for this game, dude. People are going to be dramatically different. Like, if you're worried about that in this game, you have nothing to worry about. People are going to be radically different from each other in Crowfall.
And again, it's a conversation that we're having about a game that by the time it's relevant to how I feel, it'll be 2 years from now. Where it's like, now look at this.
They say the game is going to be ready by December of this year. And they
good luck. I hope it
They have also said that the game will be largely playable in 6 months, which I don't really believe, but it's really not that big of a game if you think about it. Like, from the skill perspective, yeah, there's a lot of skills they're doing, but they're not having to build a world with quests and fucking raids and dungeons and all of the traditional theme park MMO features. They just aren't having to do. So, like, that's it. That's pretty much all they're doing. So I think it's pretty realistic that they get the game out by then. Just because not the thing with MMOs, it's not the characters and the it's not like all the stuff you would think that would take a lot of time to make an MMOs. It's like just the world. Like just all the art assets that in most MMOs, like creating this giant world with leveling content, that is where all the cost is and all the time. It's in building those fucking zones and those quests. And when your game has neither of those, then you're at a huge advantage already.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, whatever. It's fine. You know, if you're making a game and it's through crowdfunding and you can say like, oh yeah, it'll be done by December. Great.
I'm skeptical of that. I'm not saying that's gonna be a thing. I would be shocked if it is. I hope it is, but
right. I would like to play the finished version of your Crowfall game, people who make Crowfall. But if when I'm playing that game, you've just made Guild Wars with better graphics, then I'm just gonna flip you the double bird and leave because I
think that Crowfall will absolutely be a unique game. Whether it's a good game or not is up in the air, but I don't think it will be like any other MMO that we've played in a long time. That could be in a good way or a bad way. It'll be most similar to EVE Online. If it is close to any game, it'll be most similar to EVE.
And let's keep in mind, whether it's unique and a good thing or a bad thing, traditionally has been a bad thing in MMOs over the last maybe 6 years. So, sorry, Warhammer Online, you had this unique way of combat, and kick them in the Ghiblies, but guess what? Your servers are off and no one cared. So,
I haven't played any Warhammer Online, so I don't know. I know they shut.
There's a reason why you never played it, because it sucks.
Oh, that game came out when WoW was still awesome, though, right? Didn't that come out when?
But that doesn't matter. It could have been a contender to World of Warcraft, and it wasn't. It was like, this is how this shit's unique. The way you fight is unique. My friend Ken loves that game to death. My friend Ken sucks that game's dick to this day because
I don't know why the servers are shut down at this point.
No, because he was in the beta when it was in beta. He played it when it came out. He loved all these little features, and meanwhile, here I am going, that's gonna make the game fail, and I'm pointing out all this shit like that sucks, this sucks. Not to make myself look like I told you so, but I fucking told you so. And then all of a sudden the EA's like, nah, fuck it, turn the servers off. It wasn't even 3 years before they shut that shit down. And then he to this day is like, it was one of the most innovative, unique games ever. And I'm like, that's the problem. It was too unique. It was trying to be something it fucking shouldn't have been.
Dude, I think Wildstar is in serious fucking trouble.
How so?
In terms of like actually getting shut down. They've put out, like a few companies have put out their earnings predictions for like NCSoft, and like the game is barely surviving right now, and it's slated to be losing money by the end of the year, like significantly.
Again, I'll go back to it. You want to be unique? You fucked up. And you didn't spend the money in the right places. It's not this fucking difficult. If you need to hire somebody like me to help you fucking make your game great, do it now.
See, I feel bad for Wildstar because they made the game everyone said they wanted. Like, they fucking did.
Yeah, they did, but then they turned the difficulty dial up to 11, and everyone's like, well, look, we want difficult content, but we don't want shit that's impossible. We still need to bring other people into the content. That's what
everyone said they wanted. Everyone said they wanted hard dungeons and attunements and raids and the old school vanilla-esque MMO. Everyone said they wanted it because I was there on the forums, and I was one of those people as well saying that I wanted this. But the thing is I actually did want it, and I actually did participate and do all the shit that I said I wanted to do.
Hard.
Yeah, it was too hard. Yeah.
All they had to do was simply just keep dialing the difficulty back, make changes. That's what a beta is for. No, they're like, no, fuck it. Let's just produce this product as soon as possible. And there's NCSoft whipping carbines back. Go, do it. Make it. Make the game.
The thing with Wildstar is that
and now you question why the hell no one's playing it. It's because you didn't actually test the damn thing.
Yeah.
I played that beta a year and a half before the game launched. I'm not bragging like I'm some kind of cool guy. But I played the beta. And then I played the game when it came out. No fucking difference whatsoever. Not a damn thing was different.
Yeah, I think they could have beta tested higher level stuff much more than they did.
Yeah, of course. Oh, you'd have legions of people who play World of Warcraft who would be like, "Yeah, let's beta. We're the most badass World of Warcraft raiders. Let's beta test your shit." They would have done that shit for free.
They did. And the thing is that all of the hardcore raiders and hardcore PvEers loved the game because it was hard and it's like, wow, these dungeons are hard. I like this. But it was all the little shitbads that hated it because they couldn't do it. But they were the same people saying that they wanted the hard dungeons. It's just that they were lying to themselves.
They just got to dial it back. Hard to certain people is not hard to people like you and myself. Plus, on top of that, you're playing an MMO. You have to rely on other people.
Yeah.
And their skill and dedication and determination to get this shit done. And if you break people's souls over the course of 3 hours trying to kill one boss in a raid, quote unquote raid, then you failed. This shit has to be doable.
They didn't even get to step foot in the raid. It was more like they couldn't kill the first fucking boss in the first fucking dungeon.
Yeah.
For 3 hours.
Yeah. And that's at which point I just say to any MMO developer, if you're making an MMO and you want to have difficult shit, you also have to build a mechanic that allows you to pull to dial the difficulty back. And I don't give a shit who's like, well, you could just say that, Dontain, but that's not easy. No, it's fucking easy because Blizzard did it 10 years ago and it still works to this day, so shut your goddamn mouth. If you're making an MMO, you have to have this. You have to have the ability to dial back the difficulty of your content.
I mean, they did have the ability to do it.
They just didn't have it quick enough. Is the problem? People were like in there, they're playing, and they want to buy cred and continue.
Well, they're in a tough situation because some people wanted them to nerf it, and then some people didn't want them to nerf it. And if they nerfed it, then it would make them kind of look bad, and it would kind of shit on the people that did do it.
We both know if they nerfed anything in Wildstar, it would still be difficult for people like us, even. Yeah, you want to get the most hardcore mythic raiders.
Well, the game isn't that hard anymore because of the power creep.
Sure. But that's now. This game came out a year and a half ago or longer.
I
actually don't remember when Wildstar.
I don't know. I have to look it up. I think it was June 2013. No way. Was it 2014? Wildstar.
Look it up because I know the release date for Guild Wars 2, and that's how
2014.
I remember.
June 3rd, 2014. I know it was
my birthday, 2014. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So,
wow.
You've got time, Wildstar, but I mean, I think
it's coming up on 2 years. You're pretty.
Yeah, I think the problem with that
year and a half.
People expected so much so quickly. This is going to be the solution, and it ended up not being the solution. To the point where
I just feel bad for them because they said, hey, we're listening. We're really listening to what you guys say you want, and we're making it. And they fucking did. The only thing that they did fucking absolute horrible abortion of a job with was the PvP. The PvP was so unbelievably dog shit that I didn't even participate for months. And I'm a PvPer. I didn't get fucking popular on YouTube for my PvE shit, obviously. And, doing hardcore PvE was really a first time thing for me in Wildstar. And for me to not even participate in the PvP, which was my bread and butter, because it was that fucking bad, is despicable.
I thought that you got popular on YouTube for all of your Let's Play Call of Duty campaign modes.
Are you trolling? Are you serious?
Are you sure that you should know whether or not I'm trolling?
I think you're trolling.
I'm trolling, obviously.
Yeah, okay. I just didn't know
at that and be like, ha ha ha, that's funny. It's a joke. No, clearly you play COD and kill kids. You play World of Warcraft and kill kids, and then you had that video. You had that video of playing an Esper and being immortal or whatever. Yeah, no. And the PvP, I hear you. It's just I really don't think they had the ability to dial the shit back quick enough. It was okay, well, we got to do construction work here, and it's going to take months.
They probably did have the ability to dial it back, but it's just do you? Or do you give your players time? They're damned if they do and damned if they don't. Do they dial the difficulty back and piss off a lot of people that didn't want the content nerfed, that legitimately wanted the game to be hard? Or, they're fucked if they do and they're fucked if they don't. If they instantly nerf the content the first fucking week it's out, then that looks bad as well. And then the people will be saying they fucking nerfed it.
That doesn't look bad at all. When I say dial it back, I mean, I don't know if I'm like showing off how old I am, because I'm not that old, but if you've ever actually put your hand on a dial and dialed back, there isn't like a giant dip between hard and easy. It's very small increments of difficulty moving from difficult to easy, and then you find that medium over a short period of time. Every week we patch the fucking content. Raiders go back in. Dungeon people go back in. You're trying to get attuned to go back in. How difficult is it? Oh, it's gotten slightly easier, but blah, blah, blah. Dial it back a little more. Dial it back a little more. And then you find that happy medium to where you've got the happy hardcore people and the happy, I don't even want to say casual people, but you have the happy people who want to be challenged players. You got that. That's what I mean by dialing it back. It's totally fine for you.
Yeah, but that's easy to say and hard to...
That's like not easy. No, it is easy to say. Blizzard did it. Blizzard's been doing it since 2004. This is bullshit. Don't make excuses for these assholes. They fucking did it because it's part of their model. They've been dialing back rating. Fucking Molten Core used to be impossible. And then within like 2 to 4 weeks, they're like, oh yeah, now people who are challenged and who can play the game really well can do the content. But granted, back then, that was a very small number of people. But guess what? Dialing back brought people like me and you into raiding because it got easier. But it's still challenging, obviously. And it got fun.
I don't know. The landscape is just a little, is so like different now compared to then.
I guess that's an easy. I'm not saying anything as a slight to you by saying that, but I guess it's easy for people to just go.
I just don't think Blizzard does as good of a job as you're giving them credit for.
Are you fucking me? Yeah, of course. Okay, let's just change the landscape again. Let's just keep changing that landscape until it becomes way too fucking gay and no one's making any money. And then you realize, shit, the landscape has to make an upturn in difficulty and challenge and reward where now you're making money again. Again, it's one of those things where like, yeah, it's bad now. It's going to get bad. In my mind, it's going to get bad and it's going to get really fucking bad until they got to make a turnaround. And then the trend will go back to, oh yeah, MMOs being difficult and fun is fun again. And I'm cool with waiting for that because clearly no one else is fucking doing it. So.
Yeah, I mean, Wildstar did it. It's just that, you know. Oh, that's so sad, man. I want, oh, fuck. And now it's gotten to the point to where the hardcore people are even quitting Wildstar because they've been doing the same fucking shit over and over and over again for the past, whatever. I stopped playing in April or May of last year, I mean. And now there's still nothing new. There has been no new raids. There's been one new boss they've added, but that's it. So all the people that I was like playing with don't even play the game anymore. Like the whole Enigma guild is pretty much all new people.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You have a game that brings in a bunch of people, and then you can't solve your problem quick enough, and then they leave. But now you have a handful of
the thing was the rating scene didn't die until pretty much all the people ran out. Like all the raiders, like the raiders were the people that Wildstar was made for. Like that was like one of the bitching points that the casuals had was like, oh my god, only you guys made all this content for the hardcore raiders but left the casuals out to dry, which was pretty much true. And the raiders played the game, were very loyal to the game for like 6 months because the rating was fucking awesome if you were into hardcore raiding. But now even the raiders are abandoning the game. So it's really sad.
I mean, I'd abandon it too if there hasn't been any new content. The game came out in 2014.
Yeah, there hasn't been any real new raiding content at all. They made one new boss, and I think that's it. Yeah. And other than that, people have been farming the same raids this entire time. Yeah. And to give them credit, it did take people a very long time to kill the final boss. The last 40-man boss, which ripped 40-man rating. They already cut that out of the game, too. Everything's 20 now. Fuck. I'm just sad for Wildstar.
That's fine. I mean, if they want to pull back and make it 20-man, fine. I'm not the guy.
I didn't mind that much.
See, and I don't want people getting this impression that I'm the guy who's saying, like, no, it has to be bigger and harder. 80-man raids, and it has to be mega difficult, and, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying 40-man raids were doable in World of Warcraft because people gave a shit. If they don't give a shit to play your game, they're not going to log in and play. And one of the main reasons why they might not give a shit, when you go free to play, I really stopped giving a shit to log in every day.
Yeah. Free to play,
Granted, they make money. It's fine. You make money on free to play. It's just not my generation of gamer.
See, there's a bit of a free to play bubble right now. A lot of game companies are kind of getting away from free to play because there's this bubble right now where with free to play you attract a group of people that just bounces from free to play game to free to play game, and they don't actually spend any money, and they're just in a cost. Like if you have a guy playing your free to play game, you're not just not making money, you're losing money on that person. And there's just a lot of people that play free to play games that don't stick with them. They just bounce from game to game to game, and there's no loyalty there. And that's not true for everybody, obviously, but it is a thing. And that's why a lot of games have decided not to go free to play. They'll be like buy to play. I think buy to play is becoming more popular now than it's ever been, really.
Buy to play is completely logical, and I've seen so many people bitch about buy to play. It's such a fucking sad thing to see so many people bitch.
Yeah, I think the glory days of subscription-based is over. I think subscription-based is a thing of the past, but I think buy-to-play is here to stay, for sure. And that was fucking Busta Rhymes there. Buy-to-play is here to stay.
Buy-to-play is here to stay, and all y'all fucking Guild Wars 2 faggots who are like, oh, I don't want to pay for the expansion because it's the same cost as the regular game that I paid for 3 years ago. Are you out of your mind?
And plus, buy-to-play gives you
pay for it.
Buy-to-play gives you a lot of protection against botting and scamming and just overall shittiness that people can do with having multiple accounts and just being able to create them on the spot with no cost. It really does safeguard you from a lot of stuff like that. Whereas with free-to-play, Wildstar, literally every fucking BG in Wildstar is all bots. All bots because the game went free-to-play.
Yeah, and you mentioned that last week, and all I said was, it sucks to be the only human playing the game, because all those people who are botting, they're clearly like, well, I want the rewards of playing the game, but I don't actually want to play it. And in my mind, that's like the lowest kind of human being when it comes to like, I'm a gamer. Like, has our culture got so fucked that like people go, well, yeah, I want the rewards of I want that gold diamond studded gun in COD, but I paid somebody who's really good to get it for me. Are you out of your mind? Like, that's sad.
Yeah, it's very weird, the reward based things that people have become accustomed to, which again is another reason why I like Crowfall. I mean, it's really like turning that on its head. There's not these traditional there's not a traditional reward scheme with gear and stuff like that in Crowfall. It's more organic and like, I feel like Crowfall is going to be a game where you have a reputation within the community, and that's kind of like your EPing status, not your gear or your gear score or your fucking achievements. Like, I've killed this boss, blah, 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 blah. I think it really is going to be like, this guy, he's the fucking best guy at making swords or whatever the fuck. And that's going to be how it goes down in terms of like...
The more and more you describe Crowfall in this way, the more I feel like I'm just going to stop playing online games against people and just play Catan or checkers or chess. Like, oh, I'm just really good at it for being really known for being good at it. Okay. I'll be over here in the corner playing fucking Munchkin.
You don't like that idea though?
No, it's not that I dislike it. I'm just saying, like, as I've said, the trend of MMOs going from like the really good players who accomplish goals that are challenging and fun.
Yeah, but the thing with Crowfall is that those goals aren't artificially created by a developer. Those goals are determined by you and your community of peers of
Again, listen to what you just said. You're talking about a video game being created by a developer, not creating anything for you to accomplish, and yet they're making a game.
They're creating a tool set for people to do crazy fucking shit within. They're creating a fucking sandbox and tools.
I got a tool set. It's a piece of cardboard folded in half. It's called backgammon.
Yeah, but that's not a good tool set though. Like the game they're creating is about creating their job is to create a good tool set. That's the only thing that people are like hoping for. If that makes sense.
Again, I bring up MMOs. That's a good tool set for me to go in, play the game, and walk away from it without any prestige or reward or anything, outside of being recognized as the guy who did really good. That is exactly what every MMO is about.
The thing is that MMOs have trended away from community-based things, and they're more structured now, with having, like, this is the story mode, you do the quests that were designed by the developers, and then you do this thing that was designed by the developers, and then you do this thing. Whereas in Crowfall, they're just, like, giving you the ability to build shit and make shit, and these are the objectives on the game, on the map, and it's up to you guys to decide what the fuck you want to do and how you want to do it and, you know, whatever.
Right, but at the end of the day, once that map is done, you win or lose, you get nothing for it. Other than a handshake over the internet, you did a really good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can sort of see.
It's an MMO. It's the same damn thing. It's the same thing. There's no quests in an MMO. You just play the map. It's like playing chess. It's like playing checkers. You just play the game. It's like playing blackjack. You play to the objective of the game. You do the best you possibly can. If some asshole gets if some guy is in your 5-man party trying to like objectively win the game, and they're fucking around in the dungeon being an idiot, whether it's on purpose or not, that's outside of my control. But they're a member of my team. It is exactly the same thing as playing like 5-man chess. And that's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm just saying, if that's the trend we're moving towards with MMOs...
I don't think it's the trend we're moving towards. I'm just saying that's what Crowfall is doing, where they're just...
Right. But if
rather than having a structured experience where you go from this point to this point to this point and you're on, like, rails, essentially, it's going to be way more open world and Wild West-esque, and you're just going to see... Like, in my opinion, Crowfall is going to be a game where you just run in, and you're just constantly going to be saying, like, what the fuck? I have never seen anybody do that shit before. Whether it's in crafting or in PvP or with people creating, like, ridiculous builds with 1,000 or 3,000 plus skills or whatever the fuck. It's just way more open, and it's going to be, like, way more organic. Like, you're just going to come across... the whole experience, I feel like, is going to be more organic. It could be boring. Maybe there's not enough excitement there for it to warrant it. With EVE Online, for example, like, EVE is a game where it's very organic and there's lots of just fucking absurd things going on in EVE Online. All the stories I'm sure you've heard about EVE Online. Crowfall is going to be similar, but hopefully a better gameplay. That's what I'm hoping for.
Here's the big difference between EVE Online and Crowfall. In EVE Online, you get to keep the shit that you win.
You do get to keep the shit you win in Crowfall.
Weren't we just talking about this last week and how in the match, if I kill a guy... and they drop an epic shield.
You're talking about the combat test that has nothing to do with the game. The combat test.
Then why are they testing that?
Because they just want to test the actual combat, nothing else to do with the game.
Then don't drop any loot in your fucking combat test.
They need to have people. They want to test out the looting systems and the fucking and they want people to have stats and stuff.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, I go back to call me in 2 years when the game's up and running, and we'll see what the hell they're actually doing. And if it is this great thing, then great. But right now, with this game in alpha, it's just like, honestly, I think we talk more about
the game.
Crowfall
Like,
than
no one is playing
deserves.
the game of Crowfall yet. No one has played the game. We've played, like, the tests where they essentially drop us in a white fucking box and tell us to go swing swords at each other. But no one's actually played the game. The actual game probably won't be playable until the summer, where they, like, drop us in on a server with a map, and they're just like, have at it. That probably won't happen. Like, the actual game won't be tested until the summer, probably.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
Let's get down to brass tacks with Crowfall, and then I'd love to talk more about it.
Yeah, we should have more to talk about here in the summer.
Unfortunately, we do a fucking podcast once a week. So
that's good. I'm good about
it'll be a number of weeks until we can actually talk about Crowfall in a sense where it like actually is meat and potatoes. I mean, we can like pie in the sky this game until it's fucking, until we beat a dead horse to death. But it's like, I am and you are always looking for a good new MMO, something fresh.
Pretty much.
I just don't like it when people get confused. Like we talk about Blade and Soul, and I brought up the whole idea of, well, if that character is that character, that's an MMO, or it's got like a MOBA aspect. Like if I'm picking Lee Sin, that I'm leasing every time I pick that character. But that's not me. That's not my avatar in the game, and that's really where I stand on it. You know, I like that aspect of it. Where if I pick Minotaur Man and he's Minotaur Man all the time, and the meta is to have these 6 skills because they're all the greatest skills to have with Minotaur Man, then I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, now if they can create something around that where it's like, yeah, you can do all this and combine these 3,000 skills and you can counter all these people.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
I mean, there's always going to be cookie cutter stuff, but there's going to be so many skills, and the game isn't played like the gameplay in Crowfall. I feel like is going to be very random, unlike a MOBA where it's structured and there's lanes and it's sort of like the game is not the same, but there's a lot of predictable patterns, and you're going to get into a big team fight, and you're going to have to farm. Like with Crowfall, it's going to be a lot more random. Like it's going to be like, all right, are we doing some huge siege with like fucking 100 v 100, or is it just going to be a little like trolling 2-on-2 where I'm like trying to take a mine? Like it's going to be so radically different.
When I say MOBA, you're taking me too literally. I just mean in the sense of the character that I'm playing. I know there's no lanes and creeps and Crowfall.
No, I wasn't implying that at all.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying like where you're talking about how in a MOBA like people have builds that they like to run and they buy certain gear and they take certain talents, and that's kind of like the cookie cutter thing that people do. Like there's a cookie cutter way to build your character, and people sort of figure out the best things very quickly in games like MOBAs. In Crowfall, I feel like that's going to be a lot more difficult to do because there are so many different gameplay scenarios that can occur in a game that is so varied and random as that game was going to be. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to log on to Crowfall, and it's going to be like, okay, well, today I might run around and go try to take a mine and have like small scale fights, or it might be some huge fight, or it might not even be a fight at all, or I might be like going and making swords and like crafting shit. So it's going to be very unstructured in that regard, to where I feel like cookie cutter will exist. It always will exist, but I feel like it's going to be very difficult to actually stamp down what cookie cutter is going to be in that game.
The philosophy of game design that you are asking for with Crowfall is called perfect imbalance. So you can run around.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Countering. This is the whole backbone of why MOBAs are actually a thing and why they're successful. And if that goes into the game, it's great, fantastic. But let's see the game.
Yep.
And if it's marching towards that, then good.
Yeah, that's my opinion of what's.
Let's talk about what we're all going to be marching towards in 11 months, because there will be a mandatory army. I assume you have something about Trump to talk about.
Oh, I thought you were being serious for a second.
Oh no, I'm ready to lockstep for Trump. Let's do it.
All hail. So
no. Before we talk about anything else, I just want to share this. I have said shit like that in real life with my friends, and I swear some of them are like, think I'm crazy. Where I'm clearly joking, but I still kind of feel like it's a like remote possibility that when Donald Trump becomes president eventually, that all these radical things will happen. And they're just like, what the hell is wrong with you? They're like, Ted Cruz is going to get the nomination. I'm like, I don't think so,
man. If Ted Cruz gets the nomination, then the Republicans have lost.
They've lost.
They've lost. The vote is split. The vote gets split so fucking horribly that they've lost.
Oh my god.
But then again, dude, we were talking about this on the last podcast, but if Bernie goes independent and Trump goes independent, then we have this like 4-way presidential race that would be so fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, we said that something along the lines of like, well, if they don't nominate Trump, Trump will have the cojones to just be like, well, fuck you, I'm running independent. I'm still in this race.
It's gonna be huge.
Yeah, that's actually, I don't know.
If they don't give it to Trump, they are fucking crazy. They are fucking insane if they don't give it to Trump.
Yeah, I agreed.
But anyway, we were talking about on the last.
What the fuck else is there? There's Ted Cruz. And
Ted Cruz is the next biggest guy, and he's like 20% behind Donald Trump.
He's
in
a
like
Canadian, for Christ's sake.
He can't be a natural born Canadian.
He's born in Canada. No, he is born in. No, I'm not trying to like create some bullshit. He was born in Canada, but his mother was a United States citizen. So technically, he's a United States citizen.
Oh, was he like? Oh, okay. So they were like
we understand that
Canada
we all
or some shit.
Huh?
Were they like visiting Canada or some shit? And then
She was living in Canada with her husband or whatever for a period of time.
Okay.
When she got pregnant and had him, from the way it was told to me, it's more of a they moved there because the husband got a job in Canada. That's why they were there. But the whole joke is like, oh, he's a Canadian, and I'm just like, yeah, he also looks like a dipshit. I don't care where the hell he's from. He looks like somebody smashed a normal person's skull. Like smashed it down. He looks like a rectangular face to me. It's just very weird, and he's so creepy. I feel like if I saw Ted Cruz at a park talking to children, I'd be like, that's normal for that person who looks like that to be doing that.
Anyway, we were talking about in the last podcast about how like if gun politics were going to change in Europe over this whole like refugee thing. Mm-hmm. Well, in Germany, there has been a huge spike in weapons sales since the whole rape thing started to happen.
Oh, sure.
Not guns, because guns are still pretty tight over there. But in terms of like pepper spray and like, I guess like batons, they sell like weapons that aren't guns. I guess, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But like essentially,
self-defense weapons.
Yeah, self-defense weapons that aren't firearms. Have spiked dramatically, like spiked to the point where like people can't even fucking find them to buy them because they're all sold out. So, I was kind of right on that. Maybe, people are fucking. Oh, I'm glad I don't live there, man. Fuck that. That's a fucking disaster. What a fucking disaster that place is gonna be for the next God knows how long. Jesus, man. Are they still letting them in? I don't even.
I haven't heard of anything.
I think they still
different.
are. I think they are still letting them in. It was like hundreds of thousands a day at one point. I don't know if that's still crazy. It's still that crazy, but dude, fuck that shit. Anyway, that's all I had to say about that. Let me look at my topics here. Oh, here's one that you might be into. Did you hear about the Heroes of the Storm prize pool? For the new tournament that Blizzard's doing?
The prize is in the pool, or?
No, it's a $4 million prize pool for Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, for the tournament, yeah.
Yeah, dude, the money in esports has gotten crazy. I'm not a huge esports guy, but I am happy to see that esports is like really blowing up.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like with the lottery, when you say to like normal people who don't play video games, like, oh, the jackpot for Powerball is 1.5 billion. All of a sudden, everyone's looking at it. The more and more money that you can win in an esports tournament will pull in more and more people who don't like have any clue what the hell they're watching, and that just entices them to get entertained by it. So good on you. 4 million's a lot of money.
What was that Dota? That big Dota tournament? Like there was like a few years ago where people could not believe the prize pool. I think that was like 2 million, and that was like only like 2 or 3 years ago or something. Yeah. When you remember that where like people were like, I can't believe there's this much money, and like I can't believe they're doing this, and it was only like 2 million. Now it's up to 4, and it's only been like a short period of time. And what's crazy is that it's only gonna get bigger, because video games are not going to get less popular. They're only going to get more popular for the next probably 70 years. Video games are probably going to have uninterrupted growth for the next 70 fucking years until it gets to the point to where us as old faggots that are getting ready to die are playing them, and then we die, and then there's not. Because right now, pretty much your age group where you're at, once you get much older than you, a lot of people aren't playing video games, but everyone below you is playing video games.
Yeah, you can safely say anybody below the age of like
25 probably is definitely playing video games in some capacity.
Oh no, I mean like in the older spectrum, like I know people who are approaching 40 who are not big video game people. But then again, I know people who are like 37, 38.
Well, there's definitely outliers.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I'm not saying that there's a lot of these people either, but there are people who are like 37, 38 who are like, I was playing Atari, and it's like that's fine, but like, really sort of started. We all kind of got pulled into this shit as kids when it came to Nintendo. So pretty much Commodore, Atari, that shit's like.
Yeah, I'm talking about people that are actively playing video games in some capacity. I would say it's gotta be up in the 90% of people my age and younger that play video games to some capacity, whether it's, some 16-year-old girl that has some random thing on her smartphone that she plays every now and then when she's bored in the car, whatever. The percentages are fucking crazy, and
I've seen YouTube channels that are like devoted just to Clash of Clans, and they're very big channels. And I look at a game like Clash of Clans, and I'm like, this is some shit you do when you're bored, like when you're at the doctor or when you are on a plane. But there are people who take it seriously. I understand that, and so there's entertainment.
I've heard that's like an actual like legitimate game that has some depth to it.
To be honest. I would actually consider it to be the only real PvP that I would actually be entertained by, because you build your own little like fort, and then you gain levels from like what you do when you're building stuff, and then all of a sudden you enter like a certain level where like, well, now you can be raided by other people, so maybe think about that when it comes to defending your fort, and then you can open up your fucking app one day and your whole fort's destroyed, and you're like, shit. You know what I mean? You get points, or you get something for actually having.
I've never played it, but I'm pretty sure that game, if there's entire YouTube channels dedicated to it, it's got to have some depth. It's got to be at least a decent game.
And then there's Clash of Clan clones like Boom Beach and other games where it's like people take it seriously and they're fun. So
yeah,
look out.
Video games. Probably going to be investing in some publishers with some money here, just because I think it's a decently safe bet that video games as a whole probably not going to be getting any less popular anytime soon.
You know what the greatest part of that in my mind is? The fact that old money's too old and stupid and white to understand that video games are a safe investment. They're going to still invest in like...
I think it's one of the safer... I'm investing in... I'm trying to diversify. Obviously, I'm not just going to throw all my money in fucking video games because that'd be crazy. But I think for the most part, long-term growth-wise, video games are a safe fucking bet. Because I don't foresee people like me and you stopping playing them. I think we're going to continually play them for the rest of our lives. And as more people are born, those people will play video games. And until we reach that fucking point of nirvana where I'm almost dead... I think then it'll plateau or at least be stable. But I think until then, it's just going to shoot up.
It's in a sense that it's going to be a safe investment, and it'll continue to quote unquote shoot up until it is a cultural thing where people decide that video games are no longer like culturally relevant. You know what I mean?
Because they're just part of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying, like, I don't know, 100 years ago that, like, oh, the motion picture will be a safe investment for the next 100 years. Where, like, now we still watch movies. It's just that they've evolved and changed. And so the same thing can be said for video games. They're just going to evolve and change. And it's very difficult in 2016 for me to think of an age of humanity where someone playing a video game in any capacity is looked upon as like, that's just not culturally relevant anymore. Nobody does that. That's fucking weird to me. You play that Candy Crush?
I just think that everyone's going to be playing them. Because right now, there's no 80-year-olds that are playing video games. Like, I guess there might be a fucking small percentage. But we're going to be the 80-year-olds playing video games. That's why I'm saying it's going to be a safe bet. So I'm probably... for the most part, I'm invested in index funds, which is kind of like you're investing in big fucking clumps of shit and just letting it go. But when I do start investing in individual things, I will probably be doing some video game publishers. Because I think for the most part, it's just gonna grow for the next probably 70 fucking years, just uninterrupted.
No one on the planet would ever tell you, oh, if I didn't have a chance to invest in Angry Birds, I wouldn't. Of course you would have, but Angry Birds sounds like a stupid piece of shit idea. Who knew it would take off? You know what I mean? So now apparently they've arrived to the game, to the party. It's time to start looking at these things like Candy Crush. It's like, whatever. It's just scrolling around some candies and doing. No, they make so much money. It's like, okay, I guess if I knew better.
Oh, I was just talking about video. I'm not talking about like individual like games. Like I'm just talking about the industry as a whole.
All right, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying these are the new kids on the block as of this part of the century, where we're only 15, 16 years into the century, and it's like, who's playing the most games? I'm pretty sure more people are playing mobile games than playing MMOs or Call of Duty or
mobile games are the biggest thing.
Mobile games are huge. So like you give it 20, 30 years, well, where the hell are mobile games? There's going to be a couple of guys on the internet doing a podcast about mobile games going, what the fuck? Mobile games, the thing I love the most, is now changing and evolving, and it's not the way I loved it back when I was young and all this shit. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be around. Obviously, it's going to have its ebbs and flows, but eventually, one day, and it's so weird, some culture is just going to be like, yeah, video games, that's gay, dude. I can't even fathom that. But again, like you said, it'll be 80 to 120 years from now, you know. So,
I don't think they're gonna go anywhere anytime soon. I think it'll be like video games will be like the new electricity. It'll just be like, it'll be so commonplace that people don't even remember that it wasn't a thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of like internet.
Yeah, like I don't think the internet's gonna be like, unless the internet evolves into some sort of like hyper-connected neural thing that we don't even call the internet anymore, like it's not going anywhere. Like it might evolve into something else, but everyone's just gonna have it, and it's just gonna become a main staple thing, like electricity, where it's just like, wait, you don't, like, it'll be weird if you don't have it. So that's my thoughts on that.
We're kind of like my apartment right now. For whatever reason, I don't get any heat when it gets dark out. I don't understand that.
That is fucking backwards.
It just gets colder every night. That's sort of like part of why I'm continuously sick, because I'm like, what the fuck? So we're supposed to have heat all the time. I guess there's problems with the boiler or something. But yeah, no, we all get what you're saying. What? You don't have a video game? What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's going to be like, wait, you don't play video games? Yeah, that's what I think it'll turn into. Speaking of fucking heating not working, are you... Let's see, you're from Minnesota. Well, that's not... I'm trying to, like, geographically think here. Where is that in relation to Michigan?
To the left.
Yeah, it's right by it, right? U.S.
Definitely if I said to the left without being like, yeah, it's west of Michigan.
To the left.
The first thing I thought of was to the left. No, it's Michigan, then Wisconsin, then Minnesota.
Yeah.
From right to left.
It's actually to the right. You're wrong.
What?
Michigan is to the right of Minnesota.
Yeah, you said, where is Minnesota in relation to Michigan? I said, it's to the left.
Oh, then I'm dumb. Yeah. You're smarter than me.
There's some lakes or whatever there.
Yeah, there's some fucking lakes. But are you familiar with what's going on in Detroit with the schools? No.
I wrote off
Detroit.
Detroit.
With anything.
No,
so almost all of the Detroit schools right now are, like, the teachers are striking.
Oh.
Like, they're not officially striking. They're calling it a sick out, which means that all the teachers are saying they're fucking sick. And 88 schools in Detroit are closed. 88. That's nuts.
I'm just saying, maybe we can take in some Syrian refugees. I can think of a perfect place to put them.
Well, the thing is I was talking about your heat. These schools are so shit in Detroit that so the heating, they did like a news story on one of these schools, and the heat on one side of the school doesn't work. So in order to keep that one side of the school warm, they turn the heat up to fucking 90 degrees on the other side. So like the kids are legit sweating bullets in these 90-degree classrooms, like literally 90 degrees, so that the other side of the school will be at like 60. And it's just absurd. And the teachers are like tired of the shit, and they're essentially striking over it.
Yeah. Michigan's not doing all that great right now. Yeah.
They should be on the rebound, though. Because
I understand I understand why they're getting sick, because if one side of the school you're at 90 degrees, the other side's 60, a change in temperature like that.
No, they're not actually getting sick. The teachers, they're saying they're sick, but they're actually striking. 88 schools, all of the teachers got around and got together from these 88 schools and said, fuck you, we're not going to teach until you guys, like, address us and fix this shit. So President Obama came to Detroit to the auto show, and all of the schools in Detroit essentially shut down while he was there.
And they wanted to fix what shit?
The teachers are just tired of being treated like shit in Detroit. Like, the schools are awful. Like, they are truly, like, falling apart. And the teachers are, I guess, just treated like shit over there. And surely being a teacher in Detroit is not very awesome.
Being a teacher in general isn't awesome, but being a teacher in Detroit, that must be the worst.
So, I kind of disagree with you there. So, I feel like being a teacher in a decent school is like a really cushy job. Like, you have a lot of benefits. Sure, you don't get paid a lot, but you also don't work that much either. Like, at all. You work, what, 6 to 7 hours a day? Like, really, like 6?
From my friend's wife who's a teacher, she's explained to me that she has to work, quote unquote, outside of the school and outside of being paid to, quote unquote, work when she's creating lesson plans for the year, which is part of her job as being a teacher.
Yeah. Go on.
So that's kind of like where I believe teachers are getting like the bad rap, where it's like, yeah, you're not getting paid enough to actually be a year-round educationer. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what they're generally.
One of those educationers. I like how we're talking about the education system. We're just making up fucking words.
Education professional, whatever it is.
Educator.
I mean, yeah, educate a McGurger. You know what I mean? Like that. I think that's what their thing is like, well, now I have to prep for next year, and I know she's in the school before the school even opens. And all this, and she doesn't get paid for those hours or something. But I think that's a majority of what they're complaining.
She sounds like a good teacher, and not the teacher that I would be.
Not a Detroit teacher.
Dude, I had so many not shitty teachers. They were fine. Like, everyone kicked the shit out of the standardized testing, but they do the same things every year. They do the same lesson plan. Sure, they might have spent some time making that lesson plan once every that one time 20 years ago. They might have had a lot of work they were doing, but they teach the same shit every fucking year, over and over and over and over and over again. Like, I don't know. I just don't. I had so many teachers that just did not give a fuck, and I looked at their job and I'm like, wow, you actually do nothing. Like, I remember I had a history teacher, and I feel like if you're teaching for a group of kids that's like a smart group of kids, I feel like your job is just set. Because this guy would literally just hand out the fucking study guides for the SOLs, the standardized testing over here, and he'd be like, can you guys just learn this shit? And I got this was back in 2008 when the stock market was taking a shit. This fucking guy, he's like, can you guys just be quiet and just, you guys are smart. We'll be all right. And he's like, I gotta go take care of some shit. This guy fucking leaves the classroom for an hour. And we're just sitting there. And he comes back and he's like, all right. And he would just do that shit all the time. So, I don't know.
I think it's a difference of an educator wanting to educate in creative ways to help everyone learn, as opposed to the person who just wants to use the safe and easy lesson plan that's been done for 10 years or something like that. And I think when teachers try to reach every student to be the best teacher they could be, they fail in that regard because of budget cuts, or they're just not allowed to do certain stuff. I don't know. I feel for the teachers, because it's like, when you say to yourself, I want to be a teacher, I'm pretty sure a majority of these people who say that, they don't go, I want to be a teacher because it's easy mode. I can just go like this and make a shit income and have to be around kids and be stressed out all the time and have to go to meetings with other teachers and other, members of the administration and have pressure to have these grades happen. I don't think that really is the goal of teachers when they get into it. So when they actually land the job, it's like, welcome to teacher. Do this shit or you're fired, which is, my friend's wife has had a lot of issues like that, where she just doesn't get to be a teacher in her mind. But if you're in Detroit and you don't have any heat in your school, I can understand where you're coming from, teachers.
Yeah, see, I feel like being a teacher in a good area with good kids would be so fucking easy. But being a teacher in shitty ass Detroit, where you're teaching a bunch of fucking gangbangers algebra and they clearly don't give a fuck, and you're just there, and they're there because they have to be, or else they'll get thrown in juvie, that would suck. Having to teach kids that don't want to learn and are just like problematic, like, God, that would suck. That's where I feel bad for the teachers. But I don't feel bad for the teachers in Radford, fucking Virginia, where I would say in Radford, Radford, Virginia, and Radford High School, very high test scores. Very fucking high test scores for the most part. Kids are pretty smart overall, and I feel like it's easy. It's easy mode to be a Radford teacher, because they also do some shit that's like, if you want to be a tuition student in Radford, Virginia, you pretty much only get let in if you're smart. Like, they'll look at your test scores and be like, nah, this kid's too fucking stupid to come here on tuition, and they just won't let him in. Or if you're, or this is something I noticed when on my junior and senior year that they did. If you're like a problematic kid, like let's say like you're just like a troublemaker, and you're not very smart, like you get shitty test scores and stuff on the standardized testing, and you're like just a little bit of a troublemaker, nothing too crazy. They fucking expelled the kid for nothing, because he was kind of a dumbass and he didn't get very good test scores, and they were just looking for a way to get him out of the pool of people that were bringing, because he was like one of the people bringing the average down. And then there's other kids like that just would literally like not literally bring a gun to school, but they could literally bring a gun to school, but they got high test scores. They're like, all right, you know what? He just brought a gun to school, and he would get to stay because, he makes Radford look good with the high test scores.
Yeah.
That shit happened a lot. So I just thought it was crazy. Good old Radford.
I can't say that happened here. No.
Yeah. Luckily, yeah, I liked my high school, but they were very selective with who they let in terms of tuition. I mean, they had to let you in if you lived in Radford, but if you lived in like these other outside areas and you wanted to get in, you got fucking background checked from a lot of the people that I know of that came in through tuition. And just the fact that they kicked people out for nothing is so obvious.
So it's kind of like a mental note. Anyone from Michigan, don't move to Bradford.
Yeah, I don't know what I was getting on about that tangent there, but I just thought it was funny how they did that.
Well, they had standardized weird shit here in Minnesota too. They had like every year in high school you had to do a test, and it wasn't like a written test. You had to like do some shit, and if you didn't pass every single one of those tests, you wouldn't graduate. And I remember one year being, we had to prove some shit about science or whatever. So our test, me and my group, we put a helmet on a watermelon to prove that helmets protect brains, and it was the most ludicrous fucking
shit.
It happened. It just happened. And we did it because we were told, like, if you don't do it you can't graduate. We did it. We dropped the watermelon from whatever, like 12 feet. It didn't break in the helmet. And they're like, good job. That was an example of blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I was clearly in a group of kids who were smarter than me. And I was just like, cool, I'll go get the watermelon. But apparently this needed to be done or we don't graduate high school. So, and that's a testament to like the amount of.
So when you went to high school, you're what, 30?
I'm 31.
Holy shit, you're an old faggot. I graduated in the standardized testing era, where you might not have.
No, we had standardized tests as well. We just
but not Minnesota to the extreme.
Minnesota itself had this fucking thing on top of it. Let me put it to you this way: when I graduated high school, my senior year, I was in New Mexico. I was in Los Lunas, New Mexico. So when I went there for what I considered my senior year, the credit transition between Minnesota to New Mexico, I was basically smarter than everyone there because I had more fucking credits. So they said, well, we have to transition your credits. You're going to be a junior for one half of the year and then a senior for the other half of the year. And I was just like, all right, so I'm going to blow through 2 grades in 1 year of school. And that happened. But guess what they didn't ask me to do? They didn't ask me to drop a watermelon from somewhere and prove some science I learned in school. Whereas Minnesota would have... Yeah, it's weird. I know, I'm with you. It's fucking weird. But we still had standardized tests.
When I went to high school, everything relied on the standardized tests at the end of the year. Like, the teacher, you could literally fucking stuff a turd down the teacher's mouth, but do good on the standardized tests, and they would love you for it. I was a bit of a troublemaker in high school, so a lot of the teachers kind of, didn't like me. Like, they could never prove that I was doing this shit because I was smart and I was, a real clever bastard. But, a lot of them didn't really care for me because they just knew I was up to some shit, even though they couldn't find out what it was. But they fucking loved my ass. After, dude, they're like, oh, you placed with advanced placement. They'd be giving me hugs and shit because it was like the whole year relied on this one standardized test. And, dude, you could tell the teachers, they would, go fucking crazy. They're stressing out and pacing and just freaking out over these fucking tests. And, it's crazy how reliant, everything is on those tests at the end of the year for a teacher. So, I do feel bad for them in that regard. Because they are, they pretty much teach to the test. That's what they do. They teach to that fucking test.
They teach to the test, and then when you go to college... college teachers have free reign with how they teach. So if you get a teacher who has a really fucked up way of teaching, you better get the hell out of that class and get a different teacher, because if you're not picking the shit up in 5 days or 6 days, get the fuck out. I went to school for IT. My first teacher who was just teaching me basic computer shit. It was like learning rocket science. This guy made it so fucking hard and intimidating to learn.
Yeah, it's like a computer science course.
It's like, this is a 16-prong D port and plug. Port and plug are different things. Guess what? No one cares about that. I don't need to know that. I know that I plug this in and my printer works. That's it. That's all I need to know. This is technology we don't even use anymore. Oh my God, it was insane. But yeah.
Dude. So I only went to community college for one semester before I realized I wanted to try doing YouTube out full time. And I had the complete opposite experience you're talking about. My computer science classes were click the X button to close out of a program. It's just what the fuck? I thought this was going to be some advanced shit, not this is how you fucking use the mouse. It was just absurd how it was like they were trying to teach somebody to use a computer that had never even heard of the concept of one before. They literally, were teaching it to some fucking Martian.
Yeah. My school was like that, too.
It was, so boring because it was so easy. We did these, we would do these tests that would be, open up to fucking PowerPoint and do this thing that's, absurdly easy. And that's all it was. And I'm sitting here what the fuck? This is you had to take it because you had to move up the steps or whatever. But dude, I was not.
Talk about a waste of money.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Luckily, it was just community college, so I didn't waste that much. I think I might have spent $2,000 or $3,000 or something for a semester at community college. I think it was something like that. So it wasn't very much to waste, but I only went one semester, so luckily I didn't go to some big 4-year school and spend all this fucking money to realize I wanted to try out doing YouTube full time. So, whatever. I got the experience. If you went to a 4-year school,
they wouldn't have put you through that bullshit. They'd have been like, okay, this is what you need to learn to fucking graduate and get a job. They wouldn't screw around.
They might have a little bit.
A little bit, but not community college.
Yeah. I don't know. From my understanding, you do sort of have to do that even at 4-year because it's it's one of those 101 classes. Mm-hmm. English 101 where you just have to take that to be able to do anything. Mm-hmm. That was essentially what I was doing for the computer science stuff, where it's just you have to do that stupid fucking bullshit to even move on. I think that's even true for 4-year stuff as well. Maybe it would be to a lesser degree, but I think I would still have to do it.
And all schools are different, too. I mean...
Yeah. I don't regret not going to college at all. That's one of the things if I have regrets, it's definitely not that. Definitely not fucking that. Because, dude, I don't know about you. I'm sure you have friends that have, tons of student debt still.
Oh yeah.
Fuck, man.
And people who didn't even go to school for that long, you know.
Yeah. I feel fucking horrible for some of these people that have these insane amounts of student debt and either have jobs worse than mine or barely better than mine, and they've got just a mortgage over their head. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's insane. Oh, dude. Oh man, it's gonna be tough to see. It's gonna be tough to see what happens to the economy with everybody having this insane amount of debt. Like, I don't make that much money in my real life, day to day stuff. Like, I mean, I do well, but the thing is that I don't have any expenses. Like, I don't have any debt. I don't have a car payment. I don't have any sort of like overhead really, other than surviving and paying like not even pay an electric bill. I pretty much pay rent and internet, and all that other shit's included. So, it's crazy to think that there's people that make like twice as much money as me every year, but they have like no disposable income because they've got all of this shit over top of their heads. It's fucking crazy, man. Fuck debt. Never gonna do that. That's one of my life goals, is to never get in any sort of debt whatsoever, whether it comes to like car payments or fucking actual debt or student loans. Just gonna try to avoid that shit like the plague.
Yeah, because it's like, excuse me. It's just like such a thing, you know, back in the 80s and 90s where it's like, here's a credit card. You know, pay it back when you can. And then it just became so corrupt and like, you're in debt forever, haha, because we need to make money forever off of you. And then it's like, all right.
That's where go ahead.
No, I went into debt one time with a Best Buy card because when I started going to school, I bought a laptop. And it was like, I don't know, $1,900 or something. So that was my student loan money. And they're like, you qualify for this credit card. I'm like, oh, cool. Because I was a platinum member with fucking Best Buy. And I think I maybe spent like $500 on that card and started making payments on it. And then I just realized, like, mathematically, there was no way for me to catch up because of interest every month and shit. And I'm like, all right. So it got to like 600 and something bucks in interest, like, or in total after interest over time. There I was like, all right, fuck this. And I stopped making payments. And I just said, like, I'll fucking call you when I have the money, assholes. And this is when I was, you know, still in school, but I was working. And then I had the money. I called them. I'm like, here's your money. And they're like, no, man. We don't accept payment from you. And I'm just like, what? Like, you need to go through this company now to pay your debt. So I call that company. Mind you, this is not how you go about paying off your credit cards. This is not the
horrible example. Yeah.
But I called that company. They're like, yeah, we're a collections company. You owe 600 something bucks. And I'm like, okay, here's the money. And they were like, oh, okay, thanks. So I'm just sitting there going like, what? Why would I have to deal with this interest going up consistently when I can just stop paying them? They contact a collections company. The interest stops. And then I can just pay them. I get that. My credit will go down. But again, just like you said, not getting into debt. I'm not going to fucking buy a house. I'm not going to buy an expensive car. Nothing related to anything that I need in my life for the foreseeable future will rely on my credit score. So why couldn't they just let me pay it off? You know, they're like, no, it's been 2 weeks. We have to send this to a collections agency. I'm like, you guys are stupid. Like, I'm working. I could have the money to you. Nah, it's like, whatever. It's kind of like the bank thing where it's like, bwomp, bwomp, bwomp. You know, kill his checking account. Tell everyone he's not allowed to have one. It's like, you just jump the gun on all this crazy shit.
One of the things
That's why nobody wants to get into debt, because it's nuts.
Yeah, one of the things I am very proud of myself for is, like, despite the fact that I don't have, like, tons of income coming in compared to, like, I guess some other people, I feel like I'm really far ahead of the fucking 8-ball in a lot of ways, to where, like, I've already got a good solid, like, investment strategy and, like, for the future, and I just don't have, like, I don't know, I just don't have anything, like, over looming my head like that. And I don't think I've made any, like, crazy good decisions, but I really don't think I've made any bad ones. Like, the only bad decision I think I made is not investing my money sooner. Like, I could have been working on my dividends for the past. Like,
everybody can say that. The only thing I can say is not investing sooner. It's like,
yeah, but I just, like, from my point of view, like, what I'm doing is not that crazy. Like, me setting myself up for future success, it's not like I'm some sort of genius, crazy penny pincher. I'm just not behind the 8 ball. Like, the amount of money I'm investing every month isn't a crazy amount of money. I'm not making a crazy amount of money. I don't have a job that pays a crazy amount of money, but I feel like I'm going to be pretty well fucking off in the future just because I haven't made a lot of those, like, same mistakes that a lot of people make when they're young to get behind the 8 ball. Like, I don't, a lot of people, like, they have their lives figured out, then they figure out what the fuck they want to do when they're like 28, but they're fucking behind the 8 ball. They've got a car payment, they've got fucking student loans, they've got all this shit, and they know what they need to do, but they're so far behind the 8 ball that it's hard for them to actually do it. Whereas with me, like, sure, I don't have, like, some crazy fucking degree or whatever, but I feel like I'm ahead of this shit. So,
do you know what happens when you sink the 8 ball in pool?
You win the game. If you do it in the correct order, assuming.
Yeah, you win. I'm like, what does he mean when he says that? Like, of course, I've heard the term before. I'm just like, if I'm behind the 8 ball, I'm about to win. And then when you're talking about it, it's like, you're in debt if you're behind the 8 ball.
Well, you know the term, right? Where people say they're so far behind the 8 ball that it's like, it's hard to, like, do anything.
Oh, so they're behind the fucking 2 ball, you mean? They still got a whole game of pool to play? No, I don't.
Oh, that makes this whole thing awkward. So
it's fine. You don't have to explain.
Let me make sure. I'm going to Google this. Let me Google this. I could be a fucking retard. I could be a fucking retard.
I'm just using logic to be like, if I'm behind the 8 ball, I'm
about to
hit the 8 ball in. But then I'm Dontain.
Okay,
so
no, I'm right.
Stupid.
Behind the 8 ball is a term referring to a game of pool where you're in an unfavorable or uncomfortable position. Yeah, so it's an unfavorable position to where, like, you have a lot of debt and it's hard to get out of it. Whereas with me, I feel like I'm in front of the 8 ball because I don't have the debt, I don't have the expenses, I don't have fucking kids or pets or a lot of this shit I just don't have, and I have a lot more money to be able to invest. And while these investments won't pay off, like, my investment strategy is so fucking boring. It is so dull. I get basically nothing. I am essentially putting money in for the next 10 to 15 years and getting very minimal return. But after that 15 years, the interest starts fucking just exploding, like exponential growth, to the point to where, 30 years from now, I'll be making just, like, absurd amounts of money unless the fucking stock market actually blows up. Unless the thing actually, like, does something that has never done before. Like, essentially, the stock market, a lot of stocks grow at 10% a year, and that is the S&P 500 grows at 10% a year, and that is factoring in all of the recessions, all of the 2008. It's factoring in all the ups and downs. But for the most part, it's just 10%. That's what it averages out to. So unless it does something different that it hasn't done in the 130, 150 years or whatever, how long the fuck it's been, unless it actually blows up, then I'll be all right. But if that happens, then money is irrelevant anyway, because we need to worry about guns and gasoline and the new fucking world order, I guess, if that happens, because people are going to lose their minds.
Yep. And the lessons we learn are whoever the hell came up with that phrase is an idiot. And
behind the 8 ball.
We can have a new segment on the podcast called Financial Advice with Zybak.
Oh, see, yeah. I don't want to...
You talk about it a lot. Like, you've talked about it last
I talk about it a lot because I've gotten into it.
But then again, when I think of behind the 8 ball, I think of you're about to win the game, and then ahead of the 8 ball just doesn't make sense to me. I played a lot of pool
ahead of the 8 ball might be a fucking... I just actually made that up. I actually made up ahead of the 8 ball. Nope. It's a real thing. I just Google searched it.
I've heard it.
I just Google searched ahead of the 8 ball, and it's a real fucking thing. It's just the opposite of behind the 8 ball. It's being in a favorable position rather than an unfavorable position. But anyway, I might be boring the fuck out of people with financial talk, but I'm into it now. Like, and
some NPR radio shit.
But if you're wondering, now is a good time to get into the stock market if you're not into it, because we are in a bear market, aka the market is fucking falling, and it sounds like, oh my god, the stock market is tanking. That's good for people like me and you. Assuming you're a young person that's not at retirement age, the stock market be doing shitty is fucking fantastic for me and for anyone else that's a long time out from actually getting in on that money. So,
by the way, when he says me and you, he's talking to you, not me.
I'm talking to anyone that's young that plans on long-term investment. Now is the time to get into the fucking stock market, because it is declining right now. Probably because of oil. Dude, gas is fucking crazy. How cheap is gas where you're at?
Oh, it hovers around $2.
It's $2. So, I think it might be way cheaper than you're thinking.
I might not. I'm not sure. I don't exactly get gas. My car hasn't turned on in a week.
Yeah. So, let's see here.
Sorry if I live in Antarctica and my car won't turn on.
Gas right now in Virginia is $1.50. $1.50 fucking cents. And what's crazy right now, what's going on with gas, is that Saudi Arabia is intentionally flooding the market with gas. And this is a bit of a conspiracy, but it could be true. They're trying to... This is the conspiracy anyway, is that they're trying to bankrupt all of the other U.S. gas companies by just pushing it out so fucking cheap that the U.S. guys go under because they can't manufacture it for that. But it's interesting. It's part of the reason why the stock market's down, is because gas is such a big part of it. Like, the oil industry is so big in the stock market that since the oil companies aren't making that much money, it's sort of bringing everything else down. But I think that's not going to happen forever. Like, I wonder if somebody's going to call Saudi Arabia's bluff on this shit. But yeah, gas is fucking cheap. That's what I'm trying to say here. You're not into this at all. Okay.
Here's the thing. Gas expires, so I don't care. If you want to, it's cheap now. 6-7 months from now, you still won't be able to run your car on it. It's a resource that sucks. So.
Well, where were you going with that? With it expiring?
Yeah, it just expires. You can't go and buy a barrel of gas at $1.50, and then now in the perceived future where, the Saudi Arabian blah blah blah, and then gas is like $4 a gallon 3 years from now. Haha, you've made out. You've invested you bought a bunch of it when it's cheap. It's not going to fucking fuel your car.
I meant I didn't mean investing in actual gas, like in actual oil. I meant like the companies.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. I just don't give a shit about gas. It's something that I need for the rest of my life.
I just didn't know if you noticed that it's fucking cheap. Like, no, I didn't. Insanely fucking cheap. And it's only getting cheaper. It might go down to $20 a fucking barrel. Dude, gas might go below a fucking dollar. Like, what is this? When is this gonna end? Like, I feel like this is too good to be fucking true.
When Trump becomes president, everything will be fixed.
No, when Trump becomes president, it'll be like 10 cents a gallon because we're actually bombing ISIS and taking the oil, as he said.
Cutting off their head, taking their oil, make America great again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus, man.
The light at the end of the tunnel is only 11 months away.
Let me look at my topic list here. Kind of fucking, we're going off the rails here. Speaking of, this is a topic I had that I've wanted to say. I don't know if we've used this one before. This is just a rando topic that I had. But what is a hobby that you've wanted to get into but you didn't have the money to do? Like, what's something you want to do as a hobby but you just don't have the money for?
YouTube. I have an answer to this. I gotta think.
Okay, I'll fucking go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I really like paintball. Like, I could play paintball on the weekends. Like, I have the money for it, but paintball is just so absurdly fucking expensive. Like, have you ever played before?
Yeah.
even just like renting the shitty guns it's expensive. But if you actually like want to play and you have your own equipment, like I understand why the paintball equipment is expensive. Like I get why the guns are expensive. They're manufactured and milled and built to a really high standard. They're fucking really nice precision pieces of equipment. I get why the gear is expensive, but I do not understand why 2,000 gelatin balls cost $60 fucking dollars. I cannot. I don't get why the paintballs themselves are so fucking absurdly expensive. It is holding the sport back so much. Like the paintballs are just so absurdly fucking expensive that I just can't even justify playing it. Like I could afford to play it, sure, if I won the Mega Millions and I was a billionaire, I'd play it every fucking weekend. But even if I was making more money, I still wouldn't play just because it's not worth the fucking money. It's so goddamn expensive, but it's so fun. So fun.
No, I hear you on that. Yeah. And I've heard other people, because I live up here in the redneck north, where they're like, "Let's go paintballing." They've said the same thing to me. People I know are like,
"It's actually one of the most fun things you can do." In my opinion,
it's because it's shooting another person without them dying. Of course,
in fucking life in general, I think paintball is absolutely one of the most fun things you can do. It's just fun. It's a fun fucking thing to do. Airsoft's pretty good. Airsoft is very cheap, unlike paintball, but it's not as fun as paintball. It's close, but it's not as good just because shooting somebody in a fucking mask and having just blow up in their face, it's brilliant. It is so fun. Have you played a bunch, or you just like once or twice?
Just a few times, and it wasn't like on a sanctioned field or anything like that. We've got a lot of
you just go back in the woods and shoot each other.
Yeah, we have a lot of like dead woods around here where you just go and you're just.
That's fun too.
There's a shed. You can hide behind the shed.
That's fun until somebody cranks their fucking gun up.
Yeah, because you're not wearing like gear that is clearly like sponsored by the official gear you should wear. It's like, I'm wearing 2 sweaters. That shit doesn't help.
The paintball gear is irrelevant. You go out there in jeans and a hoodie, and it's the same thing as having the actual gear. The actual gear is only there for like performance wise. It only really helps you for sliding, and it's a little bit more comfortable. Like if you're wearing like paintball knee pads for like maneuvering, it's way more. It's like way easier on your knees. By the way, if you're actually into paintball, get a fucking high-end face mask or high-end mask, and get knee pads, like good knee pads. You will best investment.
That's all you need.
Yeah. Plus, when you're sucking all that dick to pay for your paintball habit, the knee pads come in handy. It's about the only way you can fucking afford that shit. God damn, why is paintball so expensive? Fucking Christ. Dude, if paintballs were like $5 a case, it would be one of the biggest sports in the world, in my opinion. Dude, it is so... I've never run into anybody that has played paintball. Not one fucking person I've met has played paintball and not had a good time. Even if they're playing in the shittiest like scenario ever, where it's like just a bunch of people in their backyard not knowing what the fuck they're doing, guarantee they're having a fucking blast. Anyway,
yeah,
do you have an answer yet?
Fun. No, yeah, mine is cosplay crafting, like actually digging in and like studying how you cut the foam and bend it to make armor, because I like the idea of taking something that's clearly just like, if on face value without any like artistic impression upon it, is literally just a person standing around in foam. But when you paint it, you carve it, and you really work on it like it's a labor of love, like a hobby, and then you see these people wearing these really good cosplay outfits at the conventions and stuff, it's an illusion. It's like, whoa, that's fucking real. Like the game is jumping out at me in the form of your cosplay. That shit's cool. Unfortunately, when I started looking into it some time ago, like maybe about 2 years ago, I got into it a bit. It's not easy to get into without a decent amount of money spent on top of what you have to learn. Yeah, because like the AB silicon solutions like create like castings and the molds out of those castings. That's just not cheap.
Yeah, and I guess I can see it adding up. And plus, you have to experiment as well. Like I feel like there's a lot of...
You have to do a lot of shit creatively, artistically, but a lot of it is the fact that you also need a safe place to do this. So a lot of the cosplayers that I see, they have a garage. They live in a house. So it's like, all right, so you're either living with like your roommates or you're living with your parents, or you can't just do this shit outside, you know, because you spray paint the ground. You're doing shit that you can get in trouble for doing. So, but it was really interesting, like how certain molds and castings were made. Like, I just didn't know how this shit was done. Like, they have the clay that they'll like surround an object with halfway up with clay, and then they'll put silicone around it with like these little nipple things, and then they'll flip it around. They'll do the mold on the other half of it with no nipple things, and all of a sudden, boom, you have like a silicone thing you can open up, and half. Half of it is one half of the weapon that you're trying to make a mold out of, and then you pour the foam in there, the expanding foam, and that shit just like took over my brain for like 4 or 5 months. I was like, this would be great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
As I was studying it, I'm like, this is gonna cost a lot of fucking money, like. So, but still, it's really cool. I love it. I love the people who've been doing it for a long time, and it looks really impressive. And then seeing that shit up and close and personal is just as great.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've always liked the Master Chief cosplay, like the people that take it to like the next fucking level and actually build out the whole suit with like the leather undersides and shit. Like,
yeah.
Let me find one that's like really good.
My equivalent to that would be people who make proton packs that have all the lights and the soundboard inside, makes all the right sounds and everything. That shit's awesome.
Yeah, like here's one copy. Let's see, can you post images in? No, you can't do that. Copy link address. Bam. Oh, my Skype. No, my Skype crashed.
Oh,
Fuck,
no.
Can you hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, well, my Skype crashed. It's still crashed, so let's just keep... Whatever. It's like not responding, but you can still hear me, so whatever, we'll just roll with it. Anyway, well, you're not going to see that picture I was talking about.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
cosplay is interesting. I'm not into it, but I appreciate it. I'm all for Jessica Negri. She's probably my favorite, maybe.
Jessica Negri and all of her cosplay friends are welcome.
Dude, she's got a subreddit that I'm subscribed to for fucking science purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Reddit.com/r/Jessica Negri.
And she's been in a couple of videos that I've seen where, like, she's with some other person and they're like, I do this kind of craft. This is how I kind of make my shit. And then she's learning new techniques as well as the audience. So it's kind of like, that's really cool. And I'm glad she gets to make a decent living being a cosplay.
I'd probably get into it if she was teaching me how to do it, like personally.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean,
it seems like
I'm not sure what it is that she does as far as YouTube or whatever, but if she had like hi, I'm Jessica Negri and this is how I do my shit series, I'd be like, all right, cool. But some of the stuff that I've seen from her is just like, I made an accessory on a top hat, and it was like, great. Like, you fiddled around for 30 minutes and glued some ribbon together. And I mean, I'm talking like making armor that looks like real.
Yeah, like the Master
armor.
Chief cosplay, that is some fucking intense shit. Like, some of these, like the fucking helmets, like, this one guy made a Master Chief helmet that was actually like motorcycle grade quality. Like, motorcycle helmet grade quality. People go fucking ham with this shit. And these are expensive to make. Like, a lot of these things are like legit.
Well, they take a lot of time
yeah.
and money over time and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just really like it. It's really cool. And then, like, it just sort of shines the dedication of these people who are like...
I know some people make money making cosplay stuff.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. When I went to BlizzCon, there was, like, 3 or 4 people who were there. And they had... some of these cosplay costumes, you have to have, like, an assistant with you carrying your water around and shit so that you stay dehydrated, right? No, so that you stay hydrated, and like if something happens, they can do a quick fix to your costume. And a lot of them were like, here's our business card. If you want replicas of cool weapons in World of Warcraft, we can make them. And one of them was like it was like Lady Ragnaros. It was like a lady, and she had like a wedding dress, so it like plumed out, right?
Oh, that's actually kick ass. A fucking Ragnaros wedding dress. That's actually fucking sick.
No, she was to complete the illusion that she was Ragnaros. She had like a wedding type dress that sort of plumed outward a bit, And then, like, you know how Rag has that spinning lava?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, if you're like a big WoW fan to get married in a fucking Ragnaros wedding dress, like that would be fucking sick.
Oh yeah, that would be sick. But she had it so that it was like painted in a way that it went from like red to yellow, and it looked like it had that illusion of spinning stuff.
Yeah.
And she had a little tiny fucking Sulfuris. She didn't have a big one, and I'm like, that's cool. And her husband was there taking photos of her. And then he's like, here's our card if you ever want like us to make something. I'm like, oh, sweet, thanks. But yeah, it's that whole dedication to it that I think it's like over time, it's like a long-term goal sort of hobby where you just whittle away at it, and then eventually you have this thing that you can wear, and then you get to go to that convention and go, hey, what's up? And then people just get to appreciate it. Like,
there was a dude at BlizzCon. Labor of love kind of situation.
Yeah. There was a dude at BlizzCon who was wearing mage armor, and it was like clockwork. The shoulders had like gears that like kind of moved really slowly. Yeah. Because in the game, that's what it looks like. But here's a real fucking dude who's like, yeah, the clockwork cogs are made out of this, and they're just rotating. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so that stuff's great. Cool as hell. I definitely wouldn't have to pay. I don't have the artistic talent to do that kind of shit. But I do appreciate the fuck out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I think I'm all out of stuff that I want to talk about. This was kind of a more low-key podcast than they normally are, but, whatever. It's all right. Fucking rock and roll.
Yeah, low-key.
You got anything you want to pimp out?
Yeah, as usual, twitch.tv/Dontain. I try to stream every day. Go check it out, except for this last week. And maybe for the next couple of days, I'm waiting for my like sinuses to really not be a problem. I just don't want to make it worse, as much as
I've done that before, where I've had a sore throat and I'm like, this will get better. I can still stream, and I couldn't even talk. Like I fucked myself up so bad trying to like force it.
Yeah, and so I've been sort of watching like Daredevil and trying to just.
Oh yeah.
Because everyone's screaming at me, watch Daredevil.
I've only seen like the first like 4 or 5 episodes. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I've only seen the first episode. I know I'm gonna watch it. All the other shit that I watch is coming back, like Flash and Arrow and Supergirl and stuff. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll just rest my voice and stuff. But this is probably the most talking I've done all week.
Okay.
Twitch, check it out. Check out the YouTube channel. There'll be stuff over there soon, hopefully. I'm in talks with some sponsors, people who are like, hey, we want you to make this a thing. Could you do this? And I'm like, yeah, cool. And I'm just trying to make it work right. Because like a lot of these dicks are like, we just need you to make a video that's blatantly a commercial for something. And I don't want to push my audience away by doing that. And so I always suggest like, hey, you know what? I have content. Maybe, at the beginning of my content or towards the end, we can talk about your product, because these are also things I'm genuinely looking forward to sharing with people. Like I'm not like, hey ladies, get this nice cool new bra.
The Zybak, the fucking Dontain approved tampon.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. There's an ad where it's like this thing will do the work of 1,000 tampons. There's a product out there that they've approached me, and I'm like, I don't
get approached by this shit. What the fuck? Are you on some sort of list?
No, people are just like, oh, this many subs.
I've gotten approached by a few like knockoff like gaming peripheral companies that I just can't be fucked with. They wanted to send me some stuff, and I'm just like, I could get some free like gear, but I can't buy shit with gaming.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I'm involved with they're saying like, look, if we send you our product, because it's like our new product, we want people to see it. Can you do a review of it? And I'm like, I have no problem doing the review, but you have to understand, I'm not making a commercial for you.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to give me $100 for this. So.
Oh, they're actually paying you? A lot of the times they don't even fucking say they're gonna pay you. They just give you the shit. A lot of them they're offering.
Well, a lot of what they say is like $100 to $500, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And a lot of them come back saying like, well, depending on the quality of the work and what you did, we could pay you up to $500. And I'm like, listen,
those motherfuckers only give you $100.
I will give you a fucking uploaded, unlisted video to look at. If you like it, then we'll talk about how much you want. and any talking points and that sort of thing. And I'm happy to do it because I studied marketing in school, and it's fine. It's just these people. This is like new money trying to get into the new market where they're kind of like, oh, we don't know if this is safe. Should we talk to YouTubers? And and it's just like, it's fine. People do this all the fucking time. Like, you've seen videos. Everyone has seen videos of like, hey everybody, it's me, Catherine, and I just want to talk a lot about this fucking thing I got for beauty related channel or whatever.
Dude, the beauty channels kick ass, man. They fucking make so much money.
And good for them, but I mean, like, I can't promote the world's greatest douche.
I'll promote it
on my channel.
If the money is right, I'll make a tutorial video.
Well, I mean, I respect myself, so I guess that's where we.
Dude, fuck self-respect. Oh, here's a good question. How much money would it take for you to suck a dick? This is a good podcast topic.
How much money to suck a dick right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the typical question is
$100,000, man.
Yeah, so the typical question goes, would you suck a dick for $1 million? But I think we're both mature enough to realize that we would both suck dicks for $1 million. Like, you're an asshole if you don't suck a dick for $1 million.
I have no shame if I have to suck a dick.
Like, it can't be that fucking hard. Like, I feel like I'd be alright at it.
It'll have to be hard. You're sucking a dick.
Yeah. You know? I just feel like, surely it can't be that fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Now we get to play the depressing game of how low would you go. Like, I think obviously we both suck a dick for $100,000. I'd suck a dick for $100,000
minimum. I ain't taking shit.
If $100,000 minimum?
If you came to me and were like, yeah, suck a dick for $50,000, I'd be like, look, I know I'm in like a bad position in my life right now, but action to reward, the ratio doesn't match for me. $100K, and I get Dude, that's a lot lower than.
I feel like I'd be good at sucking dick and I'd get the job done quickly. So like,
yes,
like, it would be shitty, but I'd be like so good at it that I'd make up for it. Like, it'd be like 3 minutes of like uncomfortableness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you'd learn a lot about yourself, and they pay you a ton of money, and you're like, all right, bye, and that's it. I would have no problem.
I definitely do it for 50. I think I'd suck a dick for $50,000.
50, really? Okay, well,
dude, because I just know with $50,000, like you can turn $50,000 into a lot more than 50
Why weren't
grand.
we talking about this while you were talking about teachers and investing? No, $100K. I think is
you gotta think about it. Like, dude, it's so much money for like so little time. And if you think about like the average porn rate, like there's a lot of dudes that aren't gay that do gay porn because it pays better than straight porn. And I wonder what they make. And I feel like that, like, they obviously don't make $50K for sucking a dick, or there'd be a lot of people doing it. But like, I wonder how much they actually make per scene. Like, I bet there's dudes getting fucked in the ass for like $200. And we're sitting here saying we wouldn't suck a dick for $50,000.
But then again, this is just like a hypothetical sort of like topic to talk about. I mean,
yeah. See, but that's the thing. Like, it's hypothetical right now, but like deep down inside, like how low would we really go? Like if we went on a podcast, like we'd be like, you know, maybe for $10,000, suck a dick. It's like if no one knew, like in our deepest, darkest deep down inside when we're really low, we really need that money. Like how low would you go? I think I'm honest enough with myself to know I'd go pretty fucking low.
Yeah, I think I'd go lower too. Like 40K, I'd be okay.
Oh god, this is slowly getting worse. It's like, no, I'd do it for $75.
Because see, the thing of it is, like, I'm the kind of person to where like I can live with that happening in my life.
Dude, you can ungay yourself so hard with 40K.
Yeah, I could live with myself, and if people like were like, "Did you really like suck a dick for $40,000?" and I would have no problem saying, "Yes, I did, and I'm $40,000 richer." I don't really care I don't care how you look at me after that happens. I feel the same. Like
if it was public though, if
it was a video, I
wouldn't. It would have to be a lot more. But if it was
would
like
have
something,
to be a couple $1 million. Be like, yeah, look at this.
If it was something where no one knew about it, I'd probably go pretty fucking low. But if somebody knew about it, it'd be significantly higher. And if there was a video, it'd be like significantly higher.
Yeah.
But if it was just like a secret thing where like Oprah like is a transvestite and she's like, suck my dick, I'll give you some money, and I'd be like, all right, Oprah.
Yeah, you got it, Oprah. No, and keep in mind, the only reason we're thinking about this and it's being significantly higher if there's a video is because people are going to make money on residuals of this.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? What if you got a percentage like through the porn? Like it's like Star Wars, where like you get like 1% of the fucking.
But no, we don't get that option. We just get to pick. Like you get the percentage over time,
we'll pay you 50 grand or 1% of all of the royalties. I feel like it's syndicated on TV.
I feel like on TV. Sure.
Yeah, it's like it's like Friends, except it's just you sucking dick, and it's on TV for like 10 fucking years. Jesus.
But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like the only situation that it would work in is I would have to suck a dick of somebody who's like incredibly famous who just wants a rando person to suck a dick, because I don't think I bring any value to the experience. Whereas like James Franco would probably like really enjoy it. And he'd be like, there's your money. But the video that would be made wouldn't be Dontain sucks James Franco's dick. It would clearly be the other way around. Like, James Franco is selling this fucking video, not me. Bearded fat asshole sucks James Franco's dick. And people could go, oh, look, you're that guy who sucked his dick. I'm like, yeah, dude, I got a couple $1 million in my bank account. I don't have to suck a dick ever again in my life. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's hard to say. Like, if there was a video of it and then like it was public knowledge that I did it, the amount would go way up.
Yes.
And I would maybe not even do it. Like, I'd have to think about it. Like, people knowing about it really changes it for me. Well, but if no one knew about it, then I would go so fucking low.
It can't get any worse than that Gratata kid who's on Vine who can suck his own dick.
Yeah. That's like a feat of flexibility. That's almost not even embarrassing.
I would not be proud of myself if I could suck my own dick.
What, you would not? If you had the capability to do it?
No,
Why would you be upset about yourself just because?
No, I'm not saying I'd be upset. I'm just saying I wouldn't flaunt the fact that I could. Whereas this kid's like, I make so much money. I'm such a faggot. Look at me. Everyone else sucks. And then finally somebody found out that he's a porn actor who sucks his own penis. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. Congratulations. That's like giving yourself a hand.
I can't do that. No, I can't suck my own dick. But maybe I can't say if I wouldn't do it if I could, just because, who knows. But I can't, so it's not even a question. Like,
if I lived in a body that could do it, I probably wouldn't feel ashamed to do so. But
it's got to be fucking nice. As gay as that sounds, like, I give the fucking greatest hand jobs in Virginia, in my experience.
I think basically the way I think about it is, if I could do that to myself, I wouldn't enjoy other people doing it.
Yeah, it's like you spoil yourself. Like you fucking.
Like I feel like
so
nobody
good
can...
that no one else can live up to the hype.
Yeah, I feel, and I'm pretty sure many people feel the same way. I don't feel like any girl or woman could give me a better hand job than myself. So if I can suck my own dick, then life is over. Like,
dude,
what am I looking for a female to do?
Women wouldn't have that power over you anymore. Dude, it'd be so fucking amazing.
The power. Yeah, that's true too. That's true.
I've always wondered about that. Like,
I wouldn't have a Matthew Santoro problem or anything.
I know, right? Dude, it's like a serious fucking issue. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Well, we just like really went off the fucking rails there.
Yep. It's an interesting
the dick sucking podcast.
Just leave a comment if you suck a dick for $50,000, would you do it? No one knows.
And no one knows. That's the big thing, is that no one knows.
Leave 2 comments. The amount of money that you would accept if no one knew, and the amount of money that you would accept if there was like a video and people would know your name via that.
Dude, I'd almost say it'd have to be like $1 million for me to do it if people knew.
It'd have to be $1 million minimum.
It'd have to be like $1 million. If there was like a video of it, it'd have to be like $1 million.
And I don't even care if my name's not even mentioned. My face is in there. People can see me.
That's crazy though, that we like, if no one knew, it goes down like that low. Like, it,
what's
like, as long as no one knows, then it's like huge discounts.
If there was a contract involved in that, and I'd put in like a clause where like, yeah, I'll do it, but I get to wear like a ski mask, would the money go down? If the money stayed the same and it didn't go down, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll do it. Fuck it, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
That's funny, man.
Anyway,
to go open up with that.
to get back, yeah, we've opened so far. We've had retarded Kate Upton and dick sucking. Anyway, to get back on point, I have a few things. Well, one thing I want to promote. So I'm going to be uploading a few Zybak Classics on my channel that were essentially on Machinima exclusively. Like they're old Machinima videos that I put up there in like 2010. And I decided I just want to put them up on my own channel just in case they remove them for whatever reason. They've done that with some of the older Respawn videos to get their channel CPM up. They've removed some of the older videos that don't pay out as well. Some with them it's selling ads, I don't know. But they've removed videos before, and I wanted to upload some of my favorite Machinima videos that have exclusively been on that channel to my own channel. So I'm going to be uploading some of the older stuff for a little nostalgia trip. So check that out. That'll be coming soon. I'm working on some thumbnails and modernizing them a little bit in that regard. But yeah, just in time for 100,000 subscribers. So I'm going to upload all these cringe-worthy videos to my channel and lose a bunch of subscribers because they're shit videos, really, compared to what I put out now. But nostalgia, people might like them. But I'm getting close to 100K. What am I at now? Let me look. I am at 99,911 subscribers. Getting close, baby. 90 away until I upload these videos, and people are like, "This is trash," and I lose like 6,000 subscribers.
You're like your 100K subscriber celebration. You're like, "Yeah, we did it, everybody!" And then you upload this just shit.
No, I know I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do something that pisses off people. It's got to happen. It's been a while since it's happened, so I'm bound for another one. But pretty routinely, I'll do something that pisses people off like crazy, and they'll just like mass unsubscribe. I can't think of what it's gonna be, but it's gonna happen at some point.
It's gonna be that video of you sucking a dick, is what it's gonna be.
No, I'd go up in subscribers. They'd be like, "Look at that guy. That dude's a fucking champion." Can't be that hard. It can't be that fucking hard. I've never done it before, but I don't go into lose.
I love that you're saying it can't be that hard, and in my mind, I'm thinking of it like,
yes, it can be.
Comedically, I'm like, it absolutely will be hard.
Well, dude, I know, right? Well, especially with me doing it. I don't go into lose, man. I'm not gonna half-ass this shit. If I'm sucking a dick for $1 million, I'm gonna do a damn good job.
I've seen enough porn to know how to do it right. No, that's cool, man. Yeah. And I've heard about that too, where they take videos down and shit.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I'm not going to be posting all of the videos I put up on Machinima because some of the only videos I'm going to be putting up are the ones that have like some good nostalgia value, like the Zybak versus Swifty duel and some of the old like Battleground tips and tricks videos where it's like kind of cool to watch them because the game is pretty different from then. Yeah, and I've got some videos of me like glitching into places that they fixed, like glitching into like out of Deep Home and Cataclysm, the underground zone, like getting out of that, and they fixed that stuff. So like it'll be stuff that people maybe have never seen that is not possible anymore.
Yeah, and that's where the value of that is.
Yeah, so I wanted to get some of those videos up that I just don't want them to go away.
Yeah, that makes me think of like taking some TGN shit that I made for them and just uploading it.
I would do it.
I did a Swifty interview that like 10 people saw because TGN did such a good job of promoting my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old TGN.
Good idea.
But yeah, I've got 12 videos. 12 videos I'm going to put up that are my Machinima. Good old Machinima videos. But yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. This one was probably not our best, but whatever. Fuck it. They all can't be winners. I think some people will like it, though.
You learn something from every podcast.
Say again?
You learn something from every podcast. I mean, you're teaching people how to invest their money correctly. I'm teaching people that the MMOs are going to die, and we're just going to have to wait long enough for the shit to come back. And then, people have decided to figure out how much they would pay to suck a dick, or they would get paid.
I think that's going to be... I feel like if people have stuck it out to this point in the podcast, they got the good part. The good part about, like, I think people actually enjoy the sucking dick part of the podcast, believe it or not.
I'm going to love it when people are, like, listening to the podcast and they're like, they see the comments, of course.
They're like, wait,
and they get like halfway through, they're like, what the hell are they talking about? these $2 amounts. That's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's going to be interesting. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Let's cut this shit off before we go on even longer about nothing. Overall, decent podcast. Not our best, but not the worst, I don't think. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Episode 10.
10.
And we'll see you again shortly, because we got to do the next week's podcast early, because I'm off to fucking North Carolina. This is Chad from ISIS. Whenever Chad's not busy terrorizing the free world, he's watching YouTube videos and not leaving likes or comments. Don't be like Chad. Leave a like and let me know what you think of this video in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe, or you might as well just fly off to Syria and join ISIS yourself.